Case number 497 on the calendar in the matter of Mason versus Campbell. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
Miss Mason, how old are you?
I'm 39 years old.
You have children?
3.
How old are they?
12, 13, and 15.
What do you do for a living?
I'm an advertising representative.
According to your complaint, in 2001, you loaned Mr. Campbell, who you were dating, $4,000 to put down as a down payment on a truck.
Yes, I did. Mr. Campbell didn't have a vehicle.
Now, listen to me. I didn't ask you a question yet.
I'm sorry.
And the understanding was that if you loaned him the down payment, he would take care of the rest of the payments, and he would pay you back this $4,000. Mr. Campbell's defense to this action is that it was a gift. Is that right, sir?
That's right, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's do the facts that we know. She put down $4,000 on a truck that was purchased in your name. Is that right?
That's right.
And you took out a car loan for the rest.
That's right.
Now I want you to convince me that this was a gift.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm ready.
Well, I was perfectly happy with the vehicle that I had. She told me that she would like for me to have a nicer truck, and she did not like my truck being parked in front of her house because it was a ranch truck. There was nothing wrong with it. It was an older truck, but I was perfectly fine with it, and it was in good shape. And one day she come home and she said, I got an advance on my check. Let's go look for a truck. So we went and looked for a truck.
Okay, so she said to you, I want to go look for a truck. And what did you say to her?
I said, that's fine. So we went and looked. And it just happened to be that day we found one. And I told her it was too much because we already found out the bank would only loan me $15,000.
When did you find that out?
Like 2 or 3 days before, I believe.
Well, what were you even checking into that for, sir, if you didn't want a new truck?
Because she had mentioned it prior to this.
What do you mean she had mentioned it prior to this?
She just wanted me to have a nicer truck. And I said, I don't even think I can get approved for the loan.
You said, I don't even think that I can get approved for the loan, but I'm going to check and find out. And then you called to see.
Yes, she asked me to go
down there. So it wasn't that she just came home one day and said to you, I want to go buy you a truck. This is a discussion that you had had with her previously.
Yes, ma'am.
And that you actually went so far as to call up to find out how much money you could get on a loan.
Yeah, to check my credit, see how bad it was.
Keep going.
And we went and looked that evening, and we found a truck, and I thought it was too much.
Look at me.
I thought it was too much. And so she was good with bargaining with people, and she knew the owner. So we went, and we talked to them. She got the truck down to what she thought was reasonable.
Well, what did you think? Don't you have a brain?
Yes.
And what did you think?
I thought it was still a little too high.
Is that what you told her?
Yes.
So you said it's too much?
It's too much.
Too much. Can't do it.
That's right.
That's what you said?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So we signed the paperwork. I signed the paperwork. She got it to where she thought.
Well, why would you sign the paperwork if you said, no, it's too much?
Because she said she was going to put the down on it. And I said, are you sure that's what you want to do? And she goes, yes, it's no problem. So that's what we did.
So that was in May of 2001?
2001.
What happened after that? How long did you stay together after that?
We stayed together approximately a year.
You lived together?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that right?
No.
When did you stop living together?
We stopped living together approximately August of 2001.
Does that sound right, sir?
It could be. I'm not very good with dates, Your Honor.
Well, try years.
I'm sorry.
Don't get sorry. Try to get intelligent. May 2001 is when you bought the truck.
Yes.
How much after that did you and the plaintiff separate?
Well, we separated a few times in between. We were off and on, off and on, off and on.
When was the last time that you actually lived together, I assume, in her home?
It had been last year in, I'd say, June.
Is that right?
No, ma'am.
Has he stayed in your house since August of 2001?
He came and stayed at my house in December of 2001 for about 4 days.
Why?
I felt sorry for him because his dad had kicked him out.
Is he a drinker?
No.
Does he use drugs?
No.
Why does dad kick him out?
They live in an old trailer in
I don't care if they live in an old trailer.
They just always got in fights and arguments.
Yeah.
And he came and stayed at my house, and I said, I'm sorry, I can't have you here. I was only going to let him stay for a couple days. And
you know, there was some other trouble with him, too, was there not, Miss Mason, that you seemed to allude to in your complaint, people looking for him for money?
Yes.
When was that?
It was in September of 2001. The first case was he owed some money for a horse, and I had given him the money already. It was a horse for my daughter, and I wasn't aware that he hadn't paid the man. And he came in my house hostile, and I said, I'm sorry, I don't know where Jeff is at. And I own a 30-foot camping trailer at Aljo with 2 pop-outs, and the guy did not believe me that it was mine. And so I had to literally pull out my paperwork of the lease and show it to him that it was not Jeff's, because he wanted to put a lien against it. Then we had a girl come to the door. She threatened to tear my vehicle apart and repossess anything that I had, because he told her it was his home, his vehicles, and he felt sorry for me and my children, so he was letting us stay there. And that's how he got people to let him live in their homes.
You mean and after this, you let him come back to your house in December? Why?
I felt sorry for him.
He already left you holding the bag for $4,000. Why would you feel sorry for him?
I'm just a nice person.
Okay. Who are you?
His ex-girlfriend. Part of this is true and part of it's not true. Jeff and I got together early November of 2001. We were together for approximately a month. Dina came to my home and started calling my home, harassing him, calling him, wanting him back.
Wanting him back or wanting her money?
Wanting him back. She did
Really?
not want money. She never brought up anything about money for the longest time.
Did you speak to her?
Yes, I did.
Well, tell me about the conversation you had with her in November of 2001.
That they were still together. He was living with her. She wanted to know who I was, what was going on between us. And I
Was
said,
he living at your house?
Yes, he was, ma'am.
How much rent was he giving you?
Nothing.
Where did you meet him?
I met him through a friend. We knew quite a few people that were mutual friends.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a cashier.
What does he do for a living?
He's works in the oil fields,
Doing what?
tearing down the big pumping units.
How often does he do that?
Well, Monday through Friday.
Then what does he do with his money?
He spends it.
On what?
Dirt bikes,
What else?
clothing, dirt bikes. We eat out.
What else?
That's about it.
Really? I doubt that. I have a good nose for that. Somebody who works construction makes a lot of money, and unless he's supporting a whole gaggle of children, there are only a few things that you get addicted to that prevent you from providing for your own sustenance, like rent and food and clothing and cars and other things. One of them's gambling. I assume he's not a gambler, is that right?
No.
And then there are a couple of other things that you can become addicted to that also take a lot of money.
Ma'am, his dirt bike takes a lot of money.
How much did he pay for the dirt bike?
I don't know how much he paid for the dirt bike. He had it before we got together.
When you say it takes a lot of money, how much is a lot of money?
Well, he's quite frequent with blowing them up, and he spent, I know, of at least $1,000 or more at a time rebuilding it.
What do you mean he blows them up? What does that mean?
He rides them hard and blows the motors up.
Do you have children?
Yes, I do.
How many children do you have?
I have 2,
How old are they?
9 and 4,
Why would you want them around somebody who has a fried brain?
because I don't believe that he has a fried brain.
He does. He does. He's an amoral person who has a fried brain because he's over 25 years old. He sucks off women, vulnerable women with children who are really trying to, they're living from hand to mouth because it doesn't look to me as if you're a trust fund child. Right? So he's sucking off you. He sucked off her. Whenever he gets some money, he blows it on things for himself, and then he doesn't treat those things with any kind of respect. According to you, he'll spend $1,000 on a dirt bike, and he rides it hard and blows up the motor. Well, that's something that somebody might do if they were 15, but not somebody who's in their mid-30s, unless they get women to take care of them and support them. Then he can take all the money he gets from his construction and oil stuff and do with it whatever he wants. Whatever toys he wants to play with, and whatever things that he needs to make him feel good. So if you want to expose your children to a person with that kind of character, that's your problem. That doesn't make you very smart. Do you understand?
Yes.
She wasn't very smart. She got snookered for $4,000. But you're not going to get it back because you got snookered for it. You gave it to him. You didn't loan him this money. He said he wanted it, and you said, I'm going to give it to you. You want to know how I know that? Because if in December of 2001, somebody who had snookered me out of $4,000 and made a fool out of me came to my house and said, I need a place to stay, I would have called the police and said, I have somebody trying to get into my house. Get him away from here.
Ma'am,
That's why. Yes.
On that, as far as that goes, Dina called my cell phone and begged him to come back to her. He was living with me at the time.
Listen, my dear, I've been around a little longer than you have. My eyesight isn't so good. I look at him and I see nothing that I would wipe my feet on. Do you understand?
Yes.
So the fact that the two of you seem to be enthralled with him, maybe he has some hidden attribute that certainly I don't see, You want him, that's your business. There was no loan. You bought him a truck. Get over it. Your case is dismissed.
Thanks, Doc.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He was hoping he wouldn't have to put it down.
She just thought she had to have a nicer vehicle in front of her house. Well, she had one for a while. Now she don't.
He said he would give it back to me in a couple days. It never happened.
Just got tired of her and the crap.
He got so much self-confidence having the vehicle, he ended up with about 4 girlfriends to go with it.
I'd rather be with my bikes. I'm an adrenaline junkie.
Date someone who has responsibility.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Cleary versus Gray. Step forward, please.
Homemaker Sandy Cleary and her son, 5-year-old Nicholas, are suing their neighbor, accounts receivable clerk Cynthia Gray. Sandy claims Cynthia's dog bit Nicholas in the face.
Miss Cleary, this is your little boy?
Yes.
What's your name?
Nicholas?
Nicholas, why don't you come up here? You're going to sit right up here next to me.
Okay, hold on. There you go.
Nicholas, how old are you?
5.
You know who I am?
It's Judy.
Right. Do you ever watch me on television? You know what it is to be in court? Is this court where you are now? Okay. You know you have to tell the truth when you're in court, right? Okay, Nicholas, you just sit there. I'll be back to you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The fence doesn't work too well. The gate doesn't work too well. Where are you?
It happened so quickly.
So where was he when it happened?
The gate had opened, he went inside.
And you weren't close enough, Miss Cleary.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Sandy Cleary says neighbor Cynthia Gray's dog bit her 5-year-old son Nicholas in the face.
Show me where you were bitten, Nicholas.
On my nose.
On your nose? Looks okay to me. Is it all better now? It's all better? Good. Miss Cleary, you and the defendant are neighbors, and according to your complaint, one of her dogs bit your son.
Correct.
You want her to pay you $5,000 for whatever. Pain, suffering, a whole bunch of other things. How far away do you live from Mrs. Gray?
We have an apartment complex that we live in, and there's a home dividing Cindy's home to our apartment complex.
She lives in a private house
Correct.
with a yard,
Correct.
with a fenced yard.
Yes.
How high is the fence?
It's probably about Nicholas's height, maybe a little bit taller.
And what kind of dogs does she have?
She has a medium-sized dog, mixed breed, and a little Chihuahua-sized dog.
Okay, and her dogs are behind the fence.
Correct.
Always behind the fence, unless she's walking them.
Well, not so correct on that one. Sometimes the dogs are free to either get out with the children also in the neighborhood to go in.
No, the children don't go in, I assume, unless their parents are with them.
Well, Cindy has also a young son, and my children, as well as other neighborhood children, have been able to go into the backyard to see if he's there to play.
Okay.
Versus the front door, actually.
No, but you wouldn't allow your 5-year-old to go there.
No.
Of course not. So, on what date was Nicholas bitten?
September 10th.
And where were you?
I was in the front yard of our apartment complex.
And who was with Nicholas?
His little friend, Lily.
How old is Lily?
She's the same age.
So you have 2 5-year-olds. And you were watching them?
Yes.
Well, tell me what happened.
Well, what happened was Nicholas and Lily both had asked if they could go see Nina and Riley.
Nina and Riley are the 2 dogs?
The 2 dogs, correct.
Yes.
And I said that would be okay, but it didn't look as if anybody was home and to please not go into the fence, as children always do. And he said okay, and the last I knew, he went to go and see the dogs, and then he started screaming.
Just a minute. When he and Lily, also age 5, went over to the defendant's home, could you see your son?
No, Your Honor, I could not.
Why not?
Because, I mean, it's very close quarters. Her driveway goes back a little further than where ours does.
Yes.
It happened very quickly. My older son had also gone over there with them.
Where's your older son?
He's not here today. He didn't see what happened as well.
Then I don't need him here. So what you're saying is your son went into her yard.
Yes. The gate has never been a real well-shutting gate.
That's not the issue, whether it's shut well or not. Ms. Cleary, you are the parent.
Correct.
You have a responsibility. You have a 5-year-old child. Your 5-year-old child should not be out of your sight when playing out in the street. And if your 5-year-old child comes to you and says, I want to go and play with the 2 dogs, and you believe, as you said, that the defendant is not home or that nobody is home, you get off your duff and you get up and you say, you want to go and see the dogs, I will go with you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Madam, this is your fault. This is not the defendant's fault. She has 2 dogs. Her dogs are behind a fence, well protected. If your son hadn't gone into the yard, your son would not have gotten bitten. And you just told me that the fence doesn't work too well, the gate doesn't work too well. Where are you? I mean, you're out talking to a friend? It's your job to watch him. And if you were negligent in taking care of your own son, don't blame anybody else.
Your Honor, I am not blaming anybody else. It happened so quickly. I instructed him that he could only pet the dogs over the fence, as he always does. That children and him, they always pet the dogs.
So where was he when it happened?
The gate had opened, he went inside.
Then you weren't close enough, Miss Cleary.
I disagree, Your Honor, but...
Well, that's your prerogative to disagree. I'm telling you, it's your fault. It's not her fault. Your son went into her property, and you were outside, and it's your responsibility to take care of your child. It's not her responsibility to take care of your child. And you had the opportunity to do that by taking him by the hand with his friend Lily, walking him over to the fence, saying, I want to go and pet the dogs. Fine. Don't go into the yard, because you don't know what 2 5-year-olds do. 2 5-year-olds don't always have judgment. And this is a situation where you're looking to blame somebody else for your negligence, malfeasance, lack of proper parenting, and you're not going to do that here. Your case is dismissed. You were wonderful, Nicholas. Goodbye.
These are excused. You may go on the calendar in the matter of Klein versus Collier. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Ms. Klein, the defendant is your former fiancé who you claim owes you for a car loan.
Yes.
A loan which was taken out in your name. He signed a note, according to you. Is that right, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
He was paying the note, I assume, for a period of time, and then
Yes,
when
he
you
did.
broke up, he stopped paying the car loan. You want that. In addition, you want some miscellaneous expenses that you had to incur in order to get him out of your apartment. The defendant, Mr. Collier, says that you have the engagement ring worth $3,000, you have his motorcycle worth some more money, and that you agreed that when you separated, it would be sort of a clean slate and there wouldn't be any debts. Is that your defense, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's start with the car loan. You acknowledge the loan.
Yes.
How much is left on the loan?
$4,800 and some change.
Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. So you tell me, Mr. Collier, why you believe you are not responsible for this loan.
Well, I felt, Mrs. Judge Judy, that when we got engaged February 8th and that everything was going good, and that Wednesday, for some reason, she starts freaking out, calling my gym, seeing if I'm at the gym or not. And so I come home and say, what's going on? She goes, I just want to believe that you really love me. And I said, well, Christine, why did you take the ring and start acting like this? Then that Thursday, she went through my cell phone bill, called a couple of friends, asked if we had sexual relationships. And, you know, they said no. One told her yeah, and said that, you know, we did 3 times, and I tried to tell her we didn't. You know, and the girl goes to my gym. So then I said, you know, we can't do this anymore. Let's get our own, I'll get my own apartment, I'll move out. She agreed with that. She actually was going to sign for me to get the apartment because we didn't know if I would be able to get it in my name. We went out and looked that day. They turned me down when they saw my credit. Then we went through another week.
And were you still living together?
Yeah, we're still together. She asked me to stay away from home as much as I can. So I said, okay, no problem. I would stay at the gym as long as I could. Come home, I was sleeping on the sofa. So then we went through that week. The 21st came up. We went to a Laker game together. Having fun, drinking. Everything was going good still. I think, okay, I'll get my own apartment. We'll try to make it work. If we can't, we can't. That Saturday, we both get up to go to the gym. She goes to her gym, I go to my gym. She goes, are you going to take the dogs for a walk? I said, yeah, I am. She goes, well, I'll go with you guys. We went for a walk. I went off to the gym. I said, I'll be home at 12. We'll go look for an apartment. I get home. There was 2 officers there with my stuff outside. I didn't know what to say. And I just stood there. And then they said, you have an hour to get it out of here. And then when we talked about me moving in the first place.
Don't go back. Don't go
Okay.
backwards.
Well, I'm
Mr.
just
Collier,
saying-
don't go backwards. Just
Okay.
go forwards.
Okay.
So we are now, your stuff is in a U-Haul.
Right.
Okay, good. Where's the engagement ring?
I exchanged it for earrings because it was on my credit card. I was solely
It was
responsible
on
to
my
pay
credit
for
card.
it.
I have the receipt right here.
Yeah, but it's under my name. I'm paying for it. And he actually had the nerve to ask for me to give him the ring back so he could pawn it for money to move out. So I'll pay for my ring twice.
1 second. He signed for it.
Right, because he had a credit card under my account. My mistake.
Is this her credit card, sir?
It was well, I was on there. Yes.
This is her credit card.
It's yeah.
Listen to me. I have a question for you, Mr.
Okay, go
Shh.
ahead.
It's her credit card. She gave you an additional card as an additional card holder.
Right.
When was the engagement ring purchased?
February 8th.
March 1st. Did you make a payment on the credit card?
No, I didn't.
There you go. Who did you expect to pay the credit card bill?
Well, I was going to pay the credit. Christine.
But you didn't.
But Judge Judy.
So right now, so listen to me, sir.
Okay.
Your defense to this $4,800 car loan is that she kept the engagement ring. That's
Right.
one. But she's paying for the engagement ring.
Right.
You're not.
Right.
So you don't get a credit for that, sir.
But
you
we
understand?
took-
You don't get a credit for the thought. You get a credit for the money. It was nice of you to buy it, but you also have to pay for it. You didn't pay for it, you don't get it back. Clear?
Yes.
What's the next thing? The next thing you wrote down here is shouldn't have to pay for something because she has your motorcycle. Tell me about the motorcycle.
Motorcycle. She signed for it for 4 months. I made payments on the bike.
Hold on.
And insurance.
Hold on a second. Motorcycle purchased when?
10/12 2002.
How much was it purchased for?
With tax and license, I don't know, 13, 12, something.
$13, $12 or
Thousand.
Let's say $12,000.
12,000.
She took out the loan for it.
She didn't take out any loans on it. She just signed for it. I
What
made
do you
all
mean?
the payments on it.
Shh, listen to me carefully. You made 4 payments on
Four,
it, you said.
yes.
Listen to me carefully. Shh. I want you to be quiet.
Okay.
Trying to get a point across to him. You made 4 payments on it.
Yes.
Each payment was how much?
$250 plus with insurance.
I'm just talking about the payments.
$200
Okay?
for the payments.
$200 for the payment. So you made a total of $800. Miss Klein, I want you to be quiet. I want you to stand still and just be quiet. So you made $800 in payments
Yes.
on a $12,000 motorcycle.
Right.
She has the motorcycle.
Yeah, I don't know where it is now.
She has it.
Yes.
You don't know where it is.
No.
You don't have it.
No.
Who is obligated to pay the $12,000 for the bicycle, you or Miss Klein?
Miss Klein.
So she has back the ring, which she made into earrings, because she doesn't want your ring, but she's paying for it. So that's not a credit towards the $4,800 you owe her for the car. She has the motorcycle, which she is obligated to pay $12,000 for, because she signed for it, and you made 4 payments of $200 each, and I assume you drove the motorcycle for 4 months. Is that right?
Well, when it was nice out.
I don't care whether you drove it
Well,
in the
yeah,
rain or
I
in a
mean-
blizzard, sir.
Well,
you had
yeah,
it.
I rode it.
You had it. You rode it. You used it. You paid $200 a month for the use of it, right? Forget it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She changed her mind.
She changed her mind. But then she filed
She-
this
just
claim
a
saying that
second.
she asked me for the money.
She changed her mind, sir. She decided that you weren't as good as she thought you were.
And later today,
She was a friend of yours, and she said, you can come and stay in my house, take care of my dog. While you were there babysitting for the house and the dog ate your dentures.
Yes.
Right?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Christine Klein says ex-fiancé Ricky Collier owes for an unpaid car loan. She also says she's keeping the engagement ring because she's the one who paid for it.
Why else don't you owe her for the car loan, sir?
Because we had an agreement that if I go on my own, she knew that I couldn't afford an apartment on my own, that she would take the loss on all the bills that we had together.
Why would she do that for you?
But that's what she said. And I said, are you sure you want to do that, Christine? She said, yes, I'll get another loan to pay off everything. That's what she said to me.
Well, why would somebody want to do that for you, Mr. Collier?
Judge Judy, that's what she said to me. I talked to her and I said, Christine, are you sure you want to do that?
She changed her mind.
She changed her mind. I totally
That's
understand
what women do.
Yeah,
That's what women do. They change their mind.
I understand that.
She decided you weren't
and
as
then
good
she
as she
goes to
thought. I'm
court,
speaking.
But then she files this claim
just a
saying that
second.
she asked me for the money. And
Listen to me.
we haven't talked since the 21st.
Mr. Collier, Didn't you notice my mouth moving, sir?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Judge Judy.
She changed her mind, sir. She decided that you weren't as good as she thought you were. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
She wants her money back. Miss Klein, I know that you want to get into how you had to get bodyguards and hire people to get him out of your apartment. That's not my problem. Don't visit it on me. Visit on me only the fact that he owes you $4,800 for the car. Now, you both agree that that's what's left on the loan? Is that right?
Yes.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,800. Thank you very much. Go have a happy life.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm clueless as to why he's clueless, as to why he was kicked out when he was abusing me back since July of last year.
She probably felt like I was going to get angry if she kicked me out.
He's a master manipulator and an abuser, and I fell into the trap.
Because I have the tendency to get angry.
I'm just glad to be free and away from him at this point.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Romine versus Gauthier. Step forward, please.
Child care provider Karen Romine is suing her former friend, realtor Dolores Gauthier, for the cost of her dentures. Karen says, while pet sitting for Dolores, her dog ate them.
Miss Romaine, you were house sitting for the defendant and pet sitting, is that right?
Yes, I was.
Had you done that before?
No.
Were you doing it as a neighbor, as a friend, or were you being paid?
As a friend. I think she was trying to get me out of the house where my daughter and I were sharing a house, and I have 4 grandkids then. Kind of for sanity ways.
And what?
For my own mental.
For your sanity. So she was a friend of yours, and she said, you can come and stay in my house, take care of my dog, take care of my house while I'm on vacation, give you a little bit of a break. Is that right?
Yes.
And your complaint is that while you were there babysitting for the house and the dog ate your dentures.
Yes.
Right? Shh. And these dentures you had placed up on counter.
Yes.
Dog jumped up and chewed them. Right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Romaine, whose fault is that?
I guess it could be mine. I thought the counter was high enough where the dog couldn't reach him.
When you say, I guess it could be mine, she was on vacation, right?
Yes.
So it couldn't be hers. You can't sue the dog. So what are we doing here?
Well, I thought it would be her responsibility since I was watching the dog. Yeah, and
No, you're supposed to take responsibility for your own actions. Miss Romaine, he answered right the first time, which is what surprised me about your lawsuit to begin with. She's on vacation. You agree to watch the dog. You're watching the dog, and you were supposed to watch and take care of your own property. The fact that you miscalculated and let the dog get a hold of your property and destroyed it doesn't make her responsible. Makes you responsible. So you got to take care of your own business, right?
you're right.
Perfect. Good. Then we don't have to bother each other any further. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It went well?
It was quick.
I came home from vacation and she showed me a baggie with her teeth in them.
Your dog ate my teeth.
Well, I felt bad, but I thought she was negligent.
We're still friends.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Montgomery versus McCarthy. Step forward, please.
25-year-old student Brandy Montgomery is suing small business owner Caitlin McCarthy for having her falsely arrested. Caitlin says Brandy charged at her swinging a keychain.
Well, quite frankly, I read both your complaint and answer in this case, and I really am quite confused. The best I can come up with is that, Miss Montgomery, it is your claim that the defendant filed a false police report and had you arrested for assault.
Yes.
Those charges were ultimately dismissed. You say they were false to begin with. Ms. McCarthy says that you did, in fact, hit her with a set of keys. Is that
Yes.
right? Mm-hmm. How do you know each other? I couldn't even figure that out from the papers.
Ma'am, her friend was my roommate, and that's how we met.
Now, you say it was a friend of your roommate. Who's your roommate?
Our roommate was Dakota. Her name was Dakota.
She lived with you and your husband?
Yes, ma'am.
Until when?
That day she was moving out was that day. The reason she was moving out is because we were not getting along. So she had decided to move out, and we were moving out a couple days after that.
Go ahead.
I had met her once when I first moved in with Dakota, which was the roommate, and then again on the day of the incident.
All right, well, I'd like you to tell me your version of what happened on the day of the incident, which was when?
It was on July 28th. I have a police report right here. Would you like?
I'd like to see it. Come on, start talking.
Sorry. My husband and I got home from picking him up from work. We go downstairs to where we live, which is like a 2-story condo type place. We go downstairs. I decide to go to the store, so I go back up. So I go upstairs. I saw the defendant in the driveway. I walk past her. I do not say any words to her. I get in my car. I drive away. I go to the store. I come back from the store, and there's sheriffs. There's about 4 sheriff cars in the driveway. I park my car, walk towards my driveway. I get arrested.
And that's all you know?
That's all I know.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 25-year-old student Brandy Montgomery is suing small business owner Caitlin McCarthy for having her falsely arrested. Caitlin says Brandy charged at her swinging a keychain.
All right, Miss McCarthy, now I'll hear you.
Judge, I didn't know either Dakota except for that day. I have never met the plaintiff before the day of incident. I was asked by a friend to come and help her move. She said she needed to move very quickly because there was some back rent due. The landlord wanted the money, and she didn't have it.
Who's the friend?
The friend is Beverly. She lives in Nevada, but she had introduced us.
Beverly, but nobody connected with the plaintiff.
No, I don't know any of these people.
Beverly is somebody that is not involved in this case other than the fact that Beverly asked you to go and move Dakota.
Correct. That's correct.
So you were actually in the plaintiff's apartment,
yes, ma'am,
helping Dakota move.
Yes.
Oh, well, now I understand.
Yes.
Go ahead.
We had moved for a couple of hours, been packing boxes. In fact, the plaintiff did come with her husband back to the house while we were moving. So I'm helping her move, and I was in the kitchen, I was packing things, kitchen items, and Brandy walked in with her husband. They were very agitated, started to go through boxes, opening them to see what was in them. I thought, well, she might be afraid that something was being taken, right?
Right.
She came over to me where I was packing, and she bumped into me, knocked me into the box that I was packing. She was very aggressive, and she opened up the box, started to dig through.
Did you say anything to her? Did she say anything to you?
Not a thing. She didn't even say, I'm Brandy. She didn't say anything. She just did this act. I saw the agitation. I was in damage control. I thought, I don't know what's going on with these two, but I'm just going to let her look. I did. She went out, went away. A few minutes later, I went out to the garage. I went to get another box. Upon returning...
And you were doing this as a favor to Beverly?
Yes.
Why?
Yes. Well, she's a very good friend of mine, and
And how did she know Dakota?
I have no idea how they met, but I had something to do with their work. And she didn't have anybody there. That was the thing. She had no family, no friends. She hadn't been there very long. And so Beverly said, this girl needs help. She needs to move out today because she had surrendered the property to the landlords for non-payment. So I went over to help. She had hired some other help as well. So we were all moving, and this incident took place. I went out to the garage. I came back from the garage with a box in my hand, and Brandy stood in front of me, blocking my path to the kitchen. I didn't know what her reason to confront me was, since I didn't know her or what was going on.
Did you say anything to her?
I didn't say anything to her first. She said something to me.
What did she say?
Well, she was swinging her keys, and she had a hand on her hip and was very agitated with me, and I didn't know why. And she said, I'm not moving, and there's not a thing you can do about it. I don't know why that would matter to me, whether she moved or didn't. I was there to help Dakota get out, and I didn't know what all these incidences were between them. I said to her, well, whatever, but you need to let me pass so we can move. I went ahead and started to move, and she was swinging her keys. She advanced on me, and the key came right to my face as she was swinging it. All I did was pull my face back, and it just grazed my chin. I decided that was pretty aggressive for me. I didn't know whether, it was going to escalate.
Aggressive?
So I went and I called the police on my cell phone.
Okay, back to you.
These are the keys, ma'am. If I swung these keys around and hit somebody with them, they would leave a pretty giant mark.
Not necessarily. I believe her. I have to make a judgment.
Correct.
She tells a very simplistic story. Can you think of a reason, Miss Montgomery, that Miss McCarthy, you didn't know her, according to both of you?
Mm-hmm.
Think of a reason why she would call the police on you.
She knew that Dakota and I had gotten into it, and the police had already been out to the house 2 prior times between me and my roommate. Yes. And the police had told us that if they came out again, that somebody would be arrested. So I believe that she did it in spite to get me arrested, to prove a point to me, because my roommate said I owed her money for back rent.
What did she have to do with that?
Ma'am, I did not swing keys.
Yes, you did. Sure you did.
Yes, you did.
Sure you did. You were angry. You had a fight. You didn't know who she was. She was helping your roommate. You swung keys. You didn't injure her. You didn't hurt her, but she had an absolute right to call the police. Grow up. Case dismissed.
Thank you.
Liza versus Stewart. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats.
Thanks, Bert.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Kleiser, you and the defendant were engaged to be married. The wedding was called off because Miss Stewart had a change of heart, I gather. And you want certain things returned, a loan that you allegedly made to her, a wedding dress that was purchased, I assume, with your money, and the setting for her engagement ring, because you had a diamond that she previously owned set by a jeweler. I assume she still has the ring.
That's correct.
All right, let's deal with simple things first. How much was the wedding dress?
It was $2.99, and there was a garment bag that cost $10.
Now, who paid for that?
That was on my credit card.
So you're still paying for it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you get the wedding dress physically from the store?
Yes, we did.
Who returned it to the store?
I returned it to the store.
Is that what you wanted him to do, return it to the store?
Yeah, he took it. He said he wanted it back, and he was going to return it for credit. And he wanted me to take the credit. But
that sounds right.
I didn't return it. He took it back.
Well, what were you going to do with it?
I wasn't going to do anything with it. I wanted him to take it back.
Fine, then you have to pay for it. The wedding dress is your responsibility. If you changed your mind, there is certainly, if he had gotten it to... If he had gotten a tuxedo for the wedding, and he called off the wedding, and the tuxedo was put on your credit card, do you think that it would have been right, would be right for you to pay for his tuxedo?
Well, if I kept the dress, I could understand that I would need to
No,
pay
you're not
for
going to
it.
keep the dress. You're going to get a credit. So the next time you decide to get married, you can go and buy a new dress and pick out a new dress at the same place where you picked out this dress.
Okay, but I
Do you
have
understand?
no,
You
I
have
have
no
no
what?
plans to get married, so I
Well, I
don't
want to explain
need it.
something to you. Does the place that make wedding dresses also make tuxedos?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? Don't be coy with me.
They do.
They make wedding dresses and bridesmaids' dresses and mother of the bride's dresses. So the likelihood of him getting married in a bridal dress are much less likely than you're getting married again and choosing another wedding dress. That be reasonable? You owe him $309. Now, let's take care of the setting on the ring. She used her own diamond. Is there any reason why you didn't buy her a diamond?
She offered to put it into a wedding band. That way it would save some money.
Fine. Well, that sounds like a very good idea. And you paid how much for that?
$250 for the ring, and then for the labor to set it, it was $50.
Where's the ring?
I didn't bring it with me.
Fine. This is what I want you to do. Take the diamond out of the ring and give him back the gold in 5 days. You owe him $309. I'm taking off $25 because the most somebody's going to charge you to take out the stone is $25.
Okay. Now, so then do I get that credit for the bridal store, the $300 credit?
Oh, yeah, he's going to give you the credit. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
You have it with you?
I have it right here.
Perfect. Give it to her.
There it is.
So now we're easy with that. Take care of those two things. Wedding dress and setting. Now let's get to the loan. Talk to me.
She had asked me to put a computer on my credit card. The credit card was Best Buy. They had a no-interest
Were you
finance.
living together or just...
We were just dating at the time.
Okay, go ahead.
There was also a camera put on the same thing. She didn't have the credit herself, so I put it all on the
Camera
same.
for?
She wanted a Canon camera. It was also with no-interest financing. It was something she wanted. So I put everything on the credit card, and we had agreed on a certain amount to pay off every month.
No, tell me about it.
The agreement was...
Look at me.
Every month, she would make payments basically on the 15th of each month. The total amount would be about $130. She made one payment in March. Everything sort of happened with the wedding being called off, and that sort of put an end to all that, and then she decided that everything was just basically a gift.
Now, you see how quiet you've been? Let's hear about the computer.
Okay, the computer, I had a little laptop computer that wasn't compatible with any of the printers because the UB...
Don't tell me about computers and things that they exchange back and forth. I don't understand that.
He had said that I should get a new computer, and I told him I couldn't afford a new computer. I was going to school. And so he had been looking at the Best Buy ads, and he said right now that there was zero financing, and he had purchased a TV, I believe, at the zero financing, and he said we should go look at them. And so we went and looked at them, and they were, you know, they had good deals on them, but I couldn't afford it, and he knew that. I told him I couldn't afford it. I'm a single mom. I'm going to school, and he said, don't worry about it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Maybe she doesn't want your ring.
That's up to her.
Oh, no, it's up to me. That's why you brought me the case.
And later today,
the phone rings, and I pick it up, and she goes, well, I was just letting you know that if you call my woman again, I'm going to F you up. And it was her girlfriend, Tony, calling.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Keith Kleiser says ex-fiancée Katara Stewart owes for her engagement ring, wedding dress, and an unpaid loan.
What about the camera?
I needed a camera for a photography class that we were doing, and he had brought that home to his house and gave it to me as a gift. He handed it in the box, and he said, he gave it to me and said, have fun with this.
Did you pick out the camera?
No, I was not with him when he got the camera. He brought it. I was waiting at his house.
Now, what's this $118 payment that you made to him?
That was actually for insurance, because I was borrowing his car, and I told him that I would make the insurance payment, and that was an insurance payment. It wasn't any payment for a computer or camera. It was for
He wants
the
to show me something that's different. Let me see what you have, sir.
I've got a breakdown of everything, how it became, what the payment was. The camera was included.
All right, all I want to see is it. I don't want to see what you wrote out here. I thought you had a.
There is
I thought you had a
there
check.
for it. That is my check.
When was the stuff purchased? March 3rd?
March 3rd.
Both the computer and the camera were purchased on March 3rd?
The camera was purchased in January. It was originally intended to be a gift. She told me that she couldn't accept a gift of this magnitude. It was just too much, and she wanted to make payments.
Get a life. Give that back to him. Give it back to him, Bird. Just cooked his own goose. All right, so the camera was in January, and it was originally purchased as a gift, but then she said, I can't take it because it's too expensive to give. Is that what you're telling me?
That is correct.
Sir, get a life. Get a life. You lie once, you don't get a second chance. You're getting back the setting for your ring and $284. You've given her the credit for $309, which she now has. Okay? But you are entitled to that money so that you can put it back into your bank and you can pay off your credit card bill. But I've deducted $25 from that wedding dress so that she can go to a jeweler and have the jeweler take out the stone and return the setting to you so that you can go and sell the gold. Do you understand what I've done?
There's no need to do that.
Why?
Really, to take the diamond out of a ring, there's really no point in doing that. It does me no good.
Well, what did you want? You're not entitled to have her pay you for it.
I don't want to have her take a ring completely apart and have no use for it, because I don't have use
Maybe
for
she doesn't want your ring.
That's up to her.
Oh, no, it's up to me. That's why you brought me the case.
That's up to
So
you.
you're going to get $284. $309 less $25. That's judgment for the plaintiff. With regard to the other things, I find they were, in fact, gifts. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He was very unreasonable about trying to settle anything.
I had a buyer for the computer. I was all set to go. She refused to give it back.
When people get hurt, you know, you can't try and get money back.
It didn't have to go this far. It really didn't.
It just wasn't there to get married.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Gladue versus Culpepper Sedgwick. Step forward, please.
Administrative Assistant Heidi Gladue is suing her former friends, 23-year-old customer service rep Michelle Culpepper and 19-year-old customer service rep Wayne Sedgwick for trashing her belongings.
Miss Gladue, for some reason, you were living with the defendants for a brief period of time with your daughter. This didn't work out. They asked you to leave. Is that right?
That's correct.
And you left, but when you left a lot of your property there. And it is your claim that at some point they took your property and threw it in the dumpster.
Yes, ma'am.
So you want them to pay you the value of the property that you claim they disposed of.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendants say they gave you plenty of opportunity to get your stuff out. They had no obligation to keep it. And finally, when you didn't come pick it up, they disposed of it. Correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, how did it come about that you and your daughter went to live with them?
I was going through some personal problems at the time, and Michelle and I had become really good friends, and I told her I had to move out of my apartment, and she said, well, you can come stay with me, your daughter, and you can come stay with us. You don't have to worry about anything, you know, just come and stay with us for a little while until you get up and off on your feet again.
That sounds like a very nice thing. She sounds like a lovely person.
Mm-hmm.
And so when did you move in with them?
It was the first weekend of July.
Okay. You moved with your daughter. Did you come with any furniture or just your personality?
Everything that I owned that was in my two-bedroom apartment went with me. I had told Michelle beforehand.
You mean she had no furniture?
Well, she had furniture in her house too, but we had one of the rooms of the apartment that she was staying at, so most of my stuff went in there, and then in the kitchen where they did not have a table and stuff, that's where my couch went.
They're really nice people. Okay, what happened?
There was a misunderstanding one day where we were, according to Michelle, inconsiderate of her feelings.
Like?
Well, her mom was missing one morning, and nobody could find her. And Wayne, Lois, and I were sitting in the living room. And
Who's
to kind of
Wayne?
Lighten the mood.
Who's Wayne?
Wayne is the other defendant. To lighten the mood, Wayne and I decided to tell Lois about this incident the night before that Michelle had bent over to pick up something and kind of fell, and we were kind of laughing about it. And she felt that we were being insensitive to the fact that her mother was missing.
So?
She asked us to leave, that we could stay the weekend if we needed to, and that she wanted us out.
Go ahead.
I told her that I was currently on unemployment at the time, so I was waiting for my unemployment check to come to me. I told her I needed some time, and she said that was no problem.
Okay.
On the 16th, I received my unemployment check in the mail. I went and I got a U-Haul truck and I got my storage area, which I have all receipts for. I told her that I would be there the following morning at 11:30, that if anything should change by that, I would give her a call. Unfortunately, that morning, my mother was admitted for pneumonia in the hospital, which I have documentation of, and I did not get out of that out of the hospital until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I called her at work at about 3:30 and told her what was going on and that I would be there tomorrow at 11:30, and she said fine. About an hour later, she called me back and said that her and Wayne had something to do and that they wouldn't be back at the apartment until around 1:30. So I told her, fine, I'll be there between 1 and 1:30. So as far as I was concerned...
On the 18th?
On the 18th, that I would be there between 1 and 1:30. On the morning of the 18th at around 9:30, I received a voicemail message from the defendant, which I have a copy of on tape. So, and
which said?
Pretty much said that her mother had received 3 more threatening phone calls, her apartment manager received 4, and that I could get all my stuff out of the effing dumpster.
Okay. Now who's going to speak?
I will.
Good, thank you.
When everything happened where I asked them to leave, it was just like she said, you know, the thing happened with my mother. They're in the living room joking around. And I let them know that they had 1 week, exactly 7 days, to get them and their property out of my house.
Okay.
They left that day and came back, I believe, 2 days later and grabbed some clothes and stuff. After the week was up was when I started calling Heidi. Because she had called, and it was like, one day she told me, you know, oh, well, I'm waiting to get my check, and it didn't come, and da-da-da-da-da. And then I ended up having to, I was at my mom's for something. I can't remember exactly why, but the phone rings, and I pick it up, and the lady on the phone asked if I was Michelle's mother. And I said yes, because I didn't know who it was. So I just kind of went, yeah, who is this? And she goes, well, I was just letting you know, B, if you call my woman again.
I don't understand.
If I was letting you know, if you call my woman again, I'm going to F you up. And it was her girlfriend calling. I'd already had problems with it before, and I did know the voice when I heard it. And so I went home, and I called Heidi, and I asked her, you know, what is this with calling my mother's house? She was on the one with my mother's number, because my number, I'd called her to her cell phone from my mom's house. So
was somebody that you had lived with?
It's my significant other, ex now.
Was that the person that you moved out of that home because you were having difficulty?
Yes.
I was trying to help her. I thought her and her daughter get away from me.
Okay, go ahead.
She claimed, oh, I haven't even talked to, and she said something about, you know what, I'm sick of even dealing with you guys. You can just throw the out because I don't want it. I don't want to deal with you. And she started ranting and raving, so I hung up the phone.
And when was this? Do you have any idea what date this was?
The 12th. It was the day she was supposed to have her stuff out.
Okay.
And
what happened next?
The next morning, she called saying that she still hadn't gotten her check and da-da-da-da. And I was like, okay, last night you were screaming you didn't even want the stuff, and then today you called me calm, telling me that as soon as you get your check, you'll be there and all this stuff. So I left it alone. I was like, fine, just come get it when you can. When she still didn't come get it, there was 2 other phone calls where she had ran it. I don't want it, and I don't want to deal with you, and you guys can this and that, and just yelling. And so I left it alone. I ended up where I came home on the 16th or the 17th, I can't remember, And Wayne told me to check the machine because there was someone on the machine and he wasn't sure if it was Heidi or her girlfriend. Well, on the machine, there was a message from her saying, you know what, F you guys, I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to see you throw this stuff out because I don't want it. And she repeated herself about 3 or 4 times. And
Do
I
you
know
have that message?
I erased it because I didn't think it was going to come to all this. Honestly, when I listened to the message, I wasn't going to throw it away. It was later on that on the 17th, I was at work and my mother called me. She said someone was calling her house threatening her. I asked her to look at her caller ID. She looked at it and she recited her cell phone number to me. So I called my play sister, a friend of mine, and I told her I'm leaving work early. You know what? I'm not going to have my mom being threatened. Let's just get her stuff out of my house. I've given her more than enough time. This was now the 17th of July. I told her on the 5th she had basically 5 days. So I didn't, it was like I felt I'd given her enough time. She had on 3 or 4 different occasions said she'd come get it, then she'd say she didn't want it. So I didn't want to play with her anymore. I didn't want my family threatened like that. So my friend came over, I left work early, we threw her stuff out.
You think she had all this aggravation before you and your daughter moved in?
I do. I think she
do?
had it planned personally.
Had what plan?
Had to plan to throw some of my stuff away because I had told her before I moved in that I would get a storage area for my
No, Miss Gladys, listen to me. That doesn't, just think it through. You think she invited you into her home for the purpose of throwing away your stuff?
I don't think for throwing away. I don't think she threw away. I had a $2,000 entertainment center. I had a 27-color-inch TV. I don't know anybody that would leave that stuff at their place. I had a bed.
Just a
I had
second.
2 beds there.
Just a second. Did you call Salvation Army?
I was going to until the threat to my mom was made.
Ms. Gladys, bottom line, she has no responsibility to keep your stuff in the house.
Right, but we had a verbal agreement for me to pick it up. She told me that I could, you know, she told me that I could keep my stuff there. I told her I was waiting for my check to come in the mail. Unfortunately, EDD took 10 days to get me my check.
She's not responsible for your bad fortune. My question to you is, do you think she had this grief in her life with threats to her mother?
I do think she had grief, but I was not responsible for those threats, ma'am.
You were...
I can't control somebody else who I'm not with. I haven't been with her.
But she was riding in a car with when she was supposedly broke up with her.
No, I was not.
I mean, if she was doing it, I had to get my mother's number from her.
She couldn't have because I don't keep phone numbers on my phone.
Whatever. She had problems. She was trying to do the right thing. Miss Gladys, she is under no obligation to keep your property. She's not your mother.
I never said she was. She was supposed to be a friend, and friends don't do that.
She was a friend.
A friend throws your stuff away when you have a verbal agreement to be there at 11:30 in the morning.
I've said it, Miss Gladys. That's all. Your case is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Mrs. Ward, the defendant is your son, and the co-defendant is his fiancée or girlfriend.
Right.
You have children together,
Yes, ma'am. Not together. I have a son and she has a daughter.
but they live with you.
Yes, ma'am.
I've read your complaint very carefully, Mrs. Ward. This is your husband?
Yes, ma'am.
According to your complaint, you claim that your son assaulted you in his home and that his fiancée was present, and while there is no claim that she assaulted you, she did nothing to prevent it.
Correct.
I don't know why you're standing up as a plaintiff, just to give moral support to your wife, sir?
Well, not only moral support, but I was there also because I wanted to stop the situation with my
You
boy.
were there on the evening of this alleged
Yes, I
assault
was.
with your wife?
Yes, I was.
Why were you and your wife at your son's home?
Okay, my wife had called my son up. She wanted to talk to him. This is through a prior conversation. She'd been trying to deal with him for a while.
About what, Mrs. Ward?
Go ahead.
About the TV and the VCR.
Tell me about the TV and the VCR.
My son and his wife, Ben, were having problems. Sean had sold everything in his house. He didn't have a good job like he does now. I mean, he was doing work, piecework.
Just a second. I read your complaint very carefully. Let me see if I can make this, because this is just a background to the story.
Okay.
Your son came to live with you for a while.
Yes, ma'am.
He was supposed to pay you rent, $50 a week.
Right.
He didn't pay you the rent.
No, ma'am.
Exactly.
I did pay. Okay.
You claimed he didn't pay you the rent. And you said, when you move, you'll leave me the TV and the VCR for the rent. And then when he moved out, he took the TV and the VCR.
Yes, ma'am.
And the reason you and your husband went over there that night was to take back the TV and the VCR.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, tell me what happened when you got there.
They were eating dinner. So we went in the living room while they was eating and watched TV. The children were there, too, eating. They got done, came in and gave us a hug, you know, and Michelle was getting them ready for bed. And so Sean says, well, you're here. What do you want to talk about? And I said, the TV and VCR. He said, I knew that's what it was going to be about. And he stood up. I said, he says, I do not owe you anything, Mom, nothing, and I want you out of the house. Well, I have a book right here where I kept notes, and his signature is on it. And I said, son, I have proof. I opened the book. And that's when he stood up and got very angry at me and told me to, I don't know the words he said, to get out.
Get out of the house.
And actually, I didn't really believe him. I meant, he's my baby son, and I believe in his
Just
word.
a minute. So he told you to leave his house at least twice?
Yes, ma'am.
And then what happened?
And I said, you're kidding, Sean. He said, I'm not kidding. Baba. He said some other word. And I said, then I'll go up and get it myself. I know I can't. Look at me, how much I weigh. I knew I couldn't get it myself.
Where was your husband during all this time?
Can I speak? I was in the living room.
So you were in the living room. So your
Yes.
wife was going to go upstairs and take the TV and the VCR. That's what she said she was going to do anyway.
That's correct.
So she started up the stairs, and what happened? Mrs. Ward.
Well, as she proceeded to start upstairs, first of all, I was shocked on the whole situation, the anger he threw at his mother. As I seen this anger, I just kind of looked at him and said, you know, you shouldn't talk to your mother that way because she is your mother, irregardless, you know, what she says or does. She proceeded to go upstairs. I went with her upstairs to slow her down and said, honey, I think we might as well go ahead and leave. And she says, well, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay right here till he either gives me the VCR and the TV. And at that point, he says, well, I'm going to call the sheriff. She said, well, go ahead and call the sheriff. And he just got angry at that point. He says, well, the heck with it. As I was proceeding to hold her back a little bit from proceeding upstairs,
Correct.
then he turned around and got angry and turned around and says, well, by God, I'll get her out. Then he jerked her off the step, holding onto the steps, threw her on his back. I told him, do not hurt your mother. He says, oh, I'm going to put her out if that's the only way I can get her out. Then I heard a big old thud in the living room, and I come running in there. She had hit the floor. I don't know if he dropped her or what happened. She was really hurt, and at that time she was speechless. She was shocked, and she says, I am going on my own. You don't need to manhandle me anymore.
Incorrect.
So he proceeded to pick her up by the arm, straight up, head on out the door, all the way to the car, slammed her into the car. She hit her head on the door as she went in. And at that time, he just said, this is where you're going to stay, get out of here. So that's as far as it went. Why I didn't do anything, people says, well, why didn't you get a pipe and hit him over the head? First of all, he's my son. I do love him. I love my wife both. I'm there trying to make a choice so quickly, and I'm not really much of a match to go jump in ahead and start doing something to my son again to his house. So there's a lot of thoughts had to go through my head. And
Was your wife drinking that day?
No, she was not.
She had anything to drink of an alcoholic nature. Just
No,
make sure.
She doesn't.
She don't drink. She might drink a little something. It wasn't alcohol. that
Okay,
had
so
anything to do with
this was not alcohol related. She was in total control of her
it.
senses
It was drug
when she
induced.
came to your house. Is that right?
Drug induced, not alcohol.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
That was part of the deal. It's so
Deal, Schmiel, listen to
I
me.
gave him a place to live, Your Honor.
Big deal. He's your child.
And later today,
The relationship was quite expensive.
He gave me a promise ring.
She was constantly asking for money.
He promised to marry me.
I felt that I was being taken advantage of, literally.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Donna Ward says her son, Sean Ward, assaulted her while she was visiting his home. Sean says his mother was belligerent and refused to leave.
You take prescription medication?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Now, you have photographs of your injuries?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see them. The marks that I see on your arms are consistent with being picked up by your arms.
Yes, ma'am.
That was your injury.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I'm going to let you tell me your side of the story, Mr. Ward.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, the case is dismissed for all purposes against Miss Price because she did not participate in this,
Correct.
other than to stand by and do nothing, which is the same thing you did, Mr. Ward. She's not even married to him. You're married to her. Why would you sue Miss Price?
Because I felt like, just like he did, tried to get Sean to calm down, I was hoping that maybe she...
Your husband didn't come to your defense. Why would a stranger?
Not for me, for her husband. I thought maybe she would ask Sean to stop. I mean... That's all.
She's not a party to this case.
Okay.
So, tell me your version of the events. Your mother came to get...
Yes,
your mother
ma'am.
came?
My mother came to the house. I had paid them $100 a week instead of the $50 that she was agreed on to pay. So, therefore, she knew the TV was paid for. She let me take it on wheel out the house. The only reason that I had any confrontation with her at all, because both my 5- and 6-year-old kids were standing in the living room, that she had asked for them to be present. I thought maybe she had a health problem that she was getting ready to tell us about. And when she did come up with that situation, I did get angry, but I did stand up and ask them both to leave. I opened both the doors, and I said, y'all need to leave. And I might have said it a little meaner, to get out of my house.
Right.
They would not leave.
Ultimately, you picked her up and put her out of the house.
Yes, ma'am. I picked her up off the steps.
And that's what the marks are on her arm.
That possibly could be.
All right. This part of the case is pretty easy. Mr. and Mrs. Ward, you are not entitled to any damages. You entered his home with his permission.
Exactly.
Then he asked you to leave. You refused to leave. At that point, you are trespassing on his property. He asked you to leave again. You still would not leave. The law permits him, as I'm sure the judge told you in court when you were there on the criminal case, that he has the right to use reasonable force. Can't shoot you. He can't stab you. But he can physically take you and move you out of his property, which is exactly what he did. Now, the fact that I don't understand why you are there trying, if your son is finally back on his feet, and he's now got a good job, and he's got a home, and he's got 2 kids that he's taking care of, why in the world you would make a big deal out of a television set and an old VCR, I haven't a clue. But I'm not going into that.
Okay.
Because there's no logical reason why you would go to his house and create a scene with 2 children there to get back a TV and a VCR that you think was owed to you for rent.
I did not. I let the children go upstairs. I've asked him without the children being around.
I don't know why you would ask for it at all.
Because, ma'am, that was part of the deal.
Deal, Schmiel, listen to me.
I gave him a place to live, Your Honor.
Big deal. He's your child.
I know, and I'm his mom. I did not want to do this.
Well, you shouldn't have done it.
Sean knows in his heart that he said, I believed in his word. And
Mrs. Ward,
yes, ma'am.
How many children do you have?
I have 7.
If your child has not been doing well for a while, as you said, he'd been in and out of your house, and he was finally, according to you, finally got a good job and back on his feet, what mother in her right mind would say, now I'm going to take the television set that you watch and the VCR that you watch, or that the children watch in their room? There's no excuse. You could talk from today till tomorrow. I have children.
I know.
And for $250, you went to the house to make a scene?
No, ma'am, I did not intend to make any kind of
Of course
scene.
you did. Because
No,
once
ma'am.
he said to you, I'm here for the TV and the VCR, and he said, I don't want to talk about
I
it,
only
please
started
leave, then you decided to go upstairs and you said, I'm going to take it myself. That's creating a scene.
I didn't think that I was very smart, Your Honor.
Oh, fine.
But he had
Good.
gotten a big, huge television, and I figured that he knew we were down. That TV would have helped us. We were down, and there was nobody helping us.
Stop it. Your children aren't supposed to help you. You're supposed to help them.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Donna Ward says her son, Sean Ward, assaulted her while she was visiting his home. Sean says his mother was belligerent and refused to leave.
You were arrested for assault,
Yes, ma'am.
and those charges were dismissed.
Yes, ma'am.
And I assume that they were dismissed, Mr. Ward, because they ultimately determined that you had the legal right to put your mother off the property.
Correct on
Is
her
that
own
right?
testimony. I didn't even have to testify.
Right. You can't sue her.
Right.
Here, you can't sue her.
Correct.
The district attorney determined that there was sufficient evidence to go to trial with because your mother had your fingerprint marks on her arms.
Correct.
Why she proceeded that far, I don't know, but she did. So you have no right to sue her for false arrest because you did, in fact, put your hands on her. You weren't in fear of your life from your mother.
No,
You weren't in fear of life, and certainly not from
No,
your
ma'am.
father because he didn't do anything.
No, ma'am. I intended no harm, and due respect to you and her, I do love my mother. Only thing I have here is the bills that I had to pay, my lawyer bills. And
You shouldn't have put your hands on your mother.
and then been out.
You shouldn't have put
You're
your,
absolutely correct,
You shouldn't
ma'am,
have put
but
your hands
I
on
was
your mother.
looking
Pay your
forward-
own bills.
I was looking forward
Case
to
is
my
dismissed.
kids.
That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I have always believed in his word, and if you can't stand by your word, what else do you have?
He's upset with the fact that he's fighting with his mother, I mean, which no person wants to be, and I just wish it would all be over with.
I would like us to be a family. I don't know if that's possible.
What I wanted was just my name to be cleared, and that happened. So I'm very happy about it.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Brown versus Valero. Step forward, please.
Home health care provider Greg Brown is suing his ex-fiancée, insurance claims assistant Christina Valero, for an unpaid loan. Christina says Greg forgave the loan when they began dating.
Mr. Brown, you claim a loan to the defendant.
Yes, ma'am.
When she was in some financial difficulty.
Yes, ma'am.
The loan was for rent. The loan was for, I think, $2,300.
Yes, ma'am.
You were paid back $200 from a relative of hers.
Yes, ma'am.
With an outstanding balance of $2,100.
Yes, ma'am.
However, she says that you forgave that loan after you started dating. Is that what your defense is?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. When did you meet her, Mr. Brown?
Early September.
Of what year?
2001, ma'am.
And when did you make this loan for the rent, and under what circumstances?
She came to me, she gave me a phone call and said that she was going to be thrown out of her apartment. I gave her the loan under the conditions that she would sign an IOU and pay me back.
Can I see it, please? I assume that's the piece of paper you have.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I typed that letter, and
I wasn't speaking to you.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, as we persisted on our friendship, grew into a relationship, the relationship was quite expensive. She was constantly asking for money. $100 here, $100 there. I felt that I was being taken advantage of, literally. So she had told me that she was going to a dinner party with her company in Santa Rosa, and she was supposed to come back that night.
When was that, sir?
That was September 28th, I believe.
Still during the month of September?
Yes. She refused to come back because she said she fell asleep in her car and was there all night. Well, I'm not exactly a fool, so I figured that she was doing something she wasn't supposed to do. At that time, I figured her irresponsibility to the relationship was not what I was looking for, so I dismissed it.
So you terminated the relationship?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and you asked her back for the money?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I'll hear from you, Miss Valero.
we started as friends, and I was in a financial difficulty at that time, and he offered that he would help us.
Who's us?
My daughter, my sister-in-law here, my son.
Go ahead.
I even typed a promissory note thinking that I would really pay him. And then he said, we went out to dinner and he said he's interested in me. And we started dating, and then he gave me a promise ring, which is this.
All in the month of September?
Yes.
Go ahead, keep going.
And then on my birthday, he gave me this.
When's your birthday?
December.
Now we're jumping to December.
Mm-hmm. Well, the whole month of November, we were fine. Then we broke up for maybe 2-3 weeks because of that incident that I went out with my friends.
Could you get to your defense, please? I'm really anxious.
He promised to marry me. He asked me to marry him.
Yes. When did he ask you to marry him?
Like November.
And what did you say?
And I said, okay, we'll if our relationship is going good,
I'm waiting for the defense.
Please. Finally, all of a sudden, he told me that his mother died. I tried calling him and calling him.
I'm getting weak. Would you tell me what your defense is, madam?
There is no.
He disappeared on me.
Yes.
And he told me that when we're together, the loan is gone.
He said if the relationship gets that deeper, you don't have to pay me back the money.
Yes.
So it didn't get that deep. So you have to pay him back the money. What is so hard to understand?
Yes, Your Honor, it got deeper because we tried looking for a house and we were talking about marriage.
So?
He even put away an engagement ring for me.
It sounds like he was a very nice man. He's not asking you for the jewelry back.
He is.
No, he isn't. Not in this lawsuit.
Yes, he told my sister-in-law here.
He's not
That you
asking for
wanted-
it. Listen, this is his one shot at a lawsuit. He's not asking for the jewelry back. He knows that that was a gift.
That's right.
He knows he can't get the jewelry back. Jewelry that looks very nice on you and I'm sure you enjoy wearing. This was a loan. And if he forgave the loan, what you do is you say, if you forgive the loan, Greg, if you forgive the loan, could I have the IOU back that I signed and I typed, and I'd like to rip...
Please.
Miss Gilhooly, according to your complaint, the defendant was your boyfriend. You lived together for a period of time. You no longer live together, no longer boyfriend and girlfriend, but you claim that he owes you for a car, that he owes you for half of a trip to Las Vegas. The defendant says that the trip to Vegas was a gift. He doesn't discuss the car, which you have. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
And you are counterclaiming because you say that Miss Gilhooly, in a fit of rage, vandalized your car to the tune of $4,700.
That's correct.
Okay. How long did you live together?
15 months, Your Honor.
15 blissful months. When did it start and when did it end?
We met in January and ended April 28th of this year.
Now tell me about the car.
Your Honor, I purchased the vehicle on January 12th.
And you say you purchased a vehicle?
Correct.
I'm reading between the lines in your complaint when you say you purchased a vehicle. Am I correct that it was supposed to be his car, but he was supposed to pay for it?
Correct.
You took out the loan?
Correct.
Down payment? Who put down the down payment?
Basically, Your Honor, it was a cashier's check. It was paid in full. I took out a personal loan, and the car was purchased by a cashier's check.
And the car was to be his car with monthly payments being made to you to pay back the loan?
Correct.
Is that right, sir?
Yes.
And how much was the total amount of the car that you paid?
The vehicle was $2,700.
What kind of car is it?
It's a 93 GMC Jimmy.
Did you pay her back?
No.
Why not?
Well, I was paying the payments until August 20th when we broke up. She
said you broke up in April.
Well, April 28th is when we broke up. Until then, I made payments all the way until April. Last payment I made was April 10th. Then April 28th, when the vandalism was done to the vehicle, I had to get the vehicle fixed eventually.
I see. So the vehicle that she vandalized was this vehicle?
Yes.
So you decided not to make any payments
Not
on
until I got hurt or anything because she vandalized my vehicle and did the damage.
Gotcha. How much did you pay totally on the car?
I gave her $300 totally towards the loan on the vehicle.
Is that right?
He gave me more, Your Honor. He made 3 payments of, I have it out to $410.
$410. You see how honest she is?
Okay. Yeah.
So that means that you still owe her $22.90 on the car.
Right.
Now tell me about the trip to Las Vegas.
Alan and I were scheduled to leave on a Friday afternoon, and he did not get his paychecks in time. And I stated to Alan, I'm going with or without you because I was meeting family out there. And he stated to me that he would pay me when I got back.
Your arrangement with him was you would pay for his plane fare.
We drove, Your Honor.
So what kind of expenses did you have when you were there?
Hotel, restaurant, gambling fees, things of that nature.
And what was the total amount?
The total amount for the Vegas trip came out to $1,869.13. I'm asking for $934.56.
Now you tell me your version of the Vegas trip.
Well, the Vegas trip was, I really didn't want to go because I'm pretty busy with my work and stuff. And she wanted me to go, and I said, well, I really can't afford to go, and I've got to keep my job and keep busy because we had kind of a slow winter this year. So she goes, well, you come out because she wanted me to meet her family. All of her family was going to be out there. And she goes, well, we got to go out there, and I want to go out there, and I want you to come with me. So I said, well, how's this trip going to work? And she goes, well, I'll take care of it. And if you can pay me back, you can pay me back. And if you can't, you can't. That was the arrangements. But then at the time...
Just a second. Hold on a second.
Okay.
So she said, I'll take care of it. And if you can pay me back, you'll pay me back. And if you can't, you can't? Is that what you said?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. What kind of work were you doing, Mr. Nelson, at the time that you went on the Vegas trip?
I was working in the heating and air conditioning business, which I do. I do new construction. Plus, we were remodeling, we were finishing her basement in her house.
What work were you doing, Mr. Nelson? You may think that you know where I'm going.
Yeah.
You don't.
Okay.
When was the Vegas trip?
The end of March, Your Honor.
The end of March of this year?
Yes.
Who were you working for where you got a paycheck or cash every week or every 2 weeks?
My job.
Well, what was your job, sir?
Doing my job, heating and air conditioning, construction.
Heating and air conditioning and construction.
Yep.
Are you still working for the same company?
I worked for a few different builders.
Is this your busy season?
Yep.
This season?
Yeah, summer.
Summer is your busy season.
Yep.
Is it busier than it was in March? Or the same?
About the same.
Good. So that you can pay her back. The contract was you would go on the trip to Vegas, and according to you, if you can pay her back, you will. And if you can't, you can't. But you can, because you have a job and you have money, so you can pay her back. Right? Perfect. So it wasn't a gift. You just told me what the terms of the contract were. You got it, Mr. Nelson?
Yep.
Good.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She asked me, well, I want the keys to the truck. I said, no, you can't drive the truck, you're drunk. And then she just started going crazy on my truck. The key in the vehicle, pulling on the, bent the antenna, broke my wipers off.
Did you do anything to his antenna?
I bent it, but I put it back.
And later today,
I worked 6 and sometimes 7 days a week in order to make ends meet.
And who was taking care of the children when you were working?
She would be there at the house during that period of time.
And if she wasn't watching them, someone would have had to have watched them. Right?
I could have taken care of that too.
I'm sure you could have, but you didn't.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Deborah Gilhooly says her ex-boyfriend Alan Nelson owes for the unpaid balance on a car. Alan says he stopped paying after Deborah vandalized the vehicle.
Tell me about the vandalism to your car.
Okay, here's some pictures, Your Honor.
No, tell me about when it happened, sir.
Well, we were at the bar on April 28th, 2002. Yeah, about 5:30. I ran into a few friends at a local bar that I hang out in where I grew up. And Debbie doesn't like the person that I met. She got angry. She had a few beers in her. She was intoxicated. She went off and sat in the corner by herself at the bar. And we didn't talk for 30 minutes. And she came back to me. And then she asked me, well, I want the keys to the truck. I said, no, you can't drive the truck. You're drunk. Oh, no. And she goes, no, my little brother was there. My brother Kevin was there. My brother Kevin was there. And he offered to give her a ride home. So then they walked out, and then she just started going crazy on my truck. And then she comes back in the place, and she goes...
What do you mean start going crazy?
She just started riding over, lipstick all over, key in the vehicle, pulling on the, bent the antenna, broke my wipers off. And I got pictures to prove damage.
I'd like to take a look at the pictures. Did you damage his truck?
I wrote on the vehicle, yes, Your Honor.
Did you key it?
No, I wrote with the ballpoint pen.
Well, if you wrote with a ballpoint pen, that means it scratched it.
Right, but it wasn't a key. Sorry.
Keyed, wrote with a ballpoint pen. Well, you can't do that.
I understand that.
Did you do anything to his antenna?
I bent it, but I put it back.
I'm sorry. So what does your car need? A new paint job?
Yeah, I have an estimate here for you, too.
The estimate better be a real cheap estimate, sir.
Oh, I got more damage. There's still more pictures.
Listen to me.
Okay.
You paid $2,700 for this car.
Yep.
You think I'm going to let you paint it and fix it for $5,600?
No, I didn't ask for that.
You think I'm going to let you paint it and fix it for $4,700, which is what your counterclaim is?
Yes, Your Honor.
Wrong. In whose name is the car titled?
My name. And right now there's a loan against it.
Really?
Yeah.
For what?
I had to pay for the transfer case, and transmission went out after her and I separated. And I had to take a loan against it to get it out of the shop. And it was $2,600, and I borrowed $3,000 against it.
Somebody gave you $3,000 against a $2,700 car?
Yep.
That's why banks are failing.
Can I see the evidence as far as that lien? And
Sure. I'll show you the pictures. Do you have the lien?
I also,
I don't have a lien with
I
me
also
now,
have pictures too.
But I have pictures too of this more that I want to show you. This profanity that's on the vehicle.
She wrote all over your car.
But 42 years old? That's, I mean, a 17-year-old kid wouldn't even do that. I mean, come on, she's 42 years old. Come on. How
old are you?
27. How mental stable is that?
What? You probably did the wrong thing.
So take it out of my vehicle, then I got to drive it on this
No.
vehicle that says F you all over it, all kinds of profanity all over it, I got to drive it all over the place?
What? It's a car that you don't have to drive anywhere. You didn't pay for it.
But I did do work for her in her house. I did remodel, I did do the basement.
Were you living in the house?
Yes, I was.
How much rent were you paying?
I was paying whatever I could afford to pay her, but then I was...
Listen to me. That's not an answer.
Okay.
So you worked off your rent?
$10,000 worth?
Yeah, well, you know, some people are more expensive than others. Ms. Kahuli, you see, your problem is that he owes you $22.90 for the car.
Correct.
He could probably get the car painted and buffed out or whatever, so it would look reasonable. At least he wouldn't walk around looking like a large profanity sign, you know, for $500–600. Or maybe he did. Did you have it painted, by the way?
No, I haven't done it yet.
So you're driving around with a car that is really terrible looking.
Your Honor, he buffed out the word liar. I have pictures of that, too.
He what?
He buffed out the word liar. You got that out of the vehicle.
Well, you know, when you have a temper tantrum, you got to pay for your temper tantrum.
I understand.
And your temper tantrum's got to cost you some money. So I'm issuing a judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,624. I have deducted the $600 so that Mr. Nelson can get his car painted.
Yes, Your Honor.
Modestly painted. And I suggest that you both go, be happy. You have had no contact since April?
A little bit, not much.
What do you mean a little bit, not much?
We're trying to set up appointments to meet, but it's over. I've got my life's been on. I've got a kid on the way, so.
Got a kid on the way?
Yes.
When?
It's due February.
Oh, when did you get married?
I am not married.
Wunderbar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor. You may step out.
And I helped the investor make her house go up and her value of her house go up and everything, about $30,000, and then I still got paying $2,600 some odd dollars. I don't think that's fair.
I would have liked to seen the vehicle back, but oh well.
She's psycho. She has mental problems.
He's a basic idiot.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Toller versus Falk. Step forward, please.
Homemaker Renee Toller is suing her ex-boyfriend, service technician Bobby Falk, for an unpaid loan. Bobby says the purpose of the loan was to get Renee out of debt.
Miss Toller, the defendant is your former boyfriend.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you live together?
Yes, ma'am, we did.
From when to when?
I think I moved in with him last year, around June. We planned to have a baby together. I got pregnant 2 months later after I went off the pill. He got a summons to court to go.
You're getting way ahead of yourself. I asked you a question. When did you move in together? You said June.
June.
June of 2001?
Yes, ma'am.
And when did you move out?
Moved all my belongings out the morning of April 13th.
It is your claim that during the time that you lived together, you took out a personal loan so that Mr. Falk could pay some back child support.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, my ex-mother-in-law took out the loan for us.
Your ex-mother-in-law?
Yes, ma'am. My children's paternal grandmother.
How many children do you have?
I have 2.
And when is this baby expected?
In 22 days.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Renee Toller says the father of her unborn child, Bobby Falk, owes for a loan. Bobby says the loan was taken out so Renee could clear up her debt.
Now tell me about this loan. Did you agree to pay back your ex-mother-in-law?
Yes, both of us did. Bobby said he could pay it off within 90 days. He had 2 vinyl siding jobs coming up.
What was the total amount of the loan?
$3,500.
And how much of it was used to pay his child support?
$2,600.
Was that money given to him?
Mm-hmm.
By
Yes.
whom?
The loan was deposited in my bank account. The money order that paid his child support came out of my bank account. And I have the papers here.
Let me see. Are you paying back the loan?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, while we lived together, we both paid it back. When I moved out, I called Bobby to ask for help to pay on the payments.
Okay, just 1 second. So while you were living together, you were both paying?
We both paid it, uh-huh.
It's not your allegation that he owes $2,600?
No, it's $2248.93. That's the remainder of the loan.
And how did you arrive at that figure?
That was the remainder of the loan.
Well, it was the remainder of what loan? The $3,500 loan that you took out?
$3,500.
Well, but you only gave him $2,600 to pay child support.
Mm-hmm.
Where did the other money go to?
I'm not sure exactly what we did with it. We may have made a house payment with the other $900.
Well, I don't know either, but that's...
I don't either.
Well, if you paid back...
Together, we paid back the other $900 already.
I understand that. Mm-hmm. But if some of that money was not used for his child support, he's not responsible for that other money. So far, is that correct, sir, that you paid back $900?
I think so, yes, ma'am.
Were you working?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
And you were working?
Till 5 weeks before April 12th.
5 weeks before, so from September until March, you were working. Fine. Did she pay money to your for your child support?
I think there was some money paid, yes, ma'am.
Do you know how much?
Not right offhand, ma'am.
Does $2,600 sound right?
That could be.
Oh, there you go.
However, I was the only sole breadwinner of the family there for quite a period of time. The period of time that she says she was working is not correct. She did not work the entire time she said that she worked.
Well, when did she work, sir?
Well, on a weekly basis, you meant 2 to maybe 3 days a week.
But you were living together as a family.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not going to go into 2 or 3 days a week and you were working 5 days a week. You paid back as a family $900 towards this loan. However, there is a substantial portion of it, or at least a big piece of it, that was not used for your child support, which is what she's suing for, $2,600. According to my calculations, if you acknowledge that this loan was taken out, at least 2/3 of it was taken out for your child support, you originally owed $2,600, and I'm giving you credit for $600, which is 2/3 of the $900 that was paid for, which comes out to $2,000. Now, you want to explain to me, sir, why you don't owe $2,000?
Yes, ma'am. Like I said, from the beginning of the time that she moved in with me, we were both working on the same job for construction. She had problems with being out in the sun, out in the heat, so she very seldom was able to work on that job. Soon after, she got a job inside of an apartment complex in an office. During that period of time, I worked 6 and sometimes 7 days a week in order to make ends meet. You keep in mind, I have 2 children, she had her 2 children, and the both of us was in my house, which meant that I was the sole breadwinner, more or less, for the entire group.
Your children living with you?
For the biggest part of the time, yes, ma'am. At that point in time, they were.
How old are they?
I have a son that's 8 and a daughter that's 13.
And who was taking care of the children when you were working?
She would be there at the house during that period of time. Yes, ma'am, while she was asleep, what have you.
Whatever.
So who was watching my kids?
Whatever. You weren't there. Someone was watching them.
Somebody had to work.
And if she wasn't watching them, someone would have had to have watched them. Right?
I could have taken care of that, too.
I'm sure you could have, but you didn't. Keep going. I'm still waiting for a reason why you don't owe $2,000 on this loan.
Well, I feel that if things was to be fair, then we could look at as to what money was spent as far as paying everybody's bills, my bills, her bills, and taking care of everybody else that was in the household at the same time.
Why should she be responsible for paying your back child support?
Nobody said she was responsible for it.
Well, she is responsible for it if this loan
something
is
she
her
chose to do on her own.
What?
That would be something she chose to do on her own. I never signed the first piece of paper for that note.
No, but you agreed to pay it back.
Did you get a notice from Child Support Enforcement that you owe this money?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And did the notice from Child Support Enforcement...
Donna, case number 89 on the calendar in the matter of Pinedo versus Burke.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Ms. Pinedo, you and the defendant lived together for a brief period of time.
Yes.
You also have a child together.
Yes.
And when you separated, it is your claim that the defendant kept some property that is rightfully yours.
Yes.
The defendant says that when you separated, you split the property. You took some, he kept some, and everything was split fairly. When did you start to live together?
We started living together in May.
In May of 2001.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have a baby.
Yes.
When was he born?
February 1st of 2002.
And when did you and the defendant cease living together?
July of 2001.
So you were a few months pregnant at that point.
I found out I was pregnant at the end of June. On July 13th, I found out I was about 6.5 weeks pregnant. That was my first ultrasound.
Okay. Now, what is it that you claim Mr. Burke has that belongs to you?
I had purchased a PlayStation 2 with about $300-400 worth of games, with a console, an extra controller, an entertainment center.
Okay, PlayStation. Very important for people who are expecting a child. What else did you purchase?
We purchased an entertainment center. I had purchased an entertainment center.
Now, that's a very interesting word that you used, Ms. Pinedo. You said we purchased an entertainment center.
Yes, I understand that. It was on my credit card, on my Best Buy account.
And those are the two things, entertainment center and a PlayStation. And
There's
games.
other things.
Like what?
I had purchased a car stereo for a car that I had purchased because Travis didn't have a car. So it was too hard for me to get up and have to take him to work and then have to go to work as well.
Yeah.
So I purchased a car, and I had put a new stereo and speakers in it.
So?
And when we had broken up, I had asked him for the car back, and he refused to give me the car back. I had reported the car stolen, and then he went ahead and returned the car because he knew I had reported the car stolen. And when he had returned the car stripped of the stereo, stripped of the speakers, and had locked all the doors, didn't leave me with a key, and I had to pay $150 to have a key made for the car.
Now, what else was purchased that you did, in fact, take with you when you separated? Because that's his defense.
Right. Well, everything else that I had taken with me, I had already had when we moved in together. I had my computer desk with my computer and my bed.
What did he purchase?
He didn't purchase anything for the apartment.
Well,
he came to the apartment with a couch.
Mr. Burke, you say she got the TV and the DVD player.
That's stuff we had bought together.
Did you take a TV and a DVD player?
Yes, ma'am.
You did?
Yes.
Who purchased that?
I did.
You mean you put it on your credit card?
Yes, ma'am.
Who paid for it?
I'm still paying for it to this day.
And you mean he contributed nothing
No.
to the TV and the DVD player?
No, I've made all the payments on my credit cards.
In what month were they purchased?
To be honest with you, I don't remember. They're on the receipts. The
A
dates
week
are on the
prior
receipts.
to moving into the apartment together. We went shopping. She did have a Best Buy card. We bought a refrigerator, TV. She had bought me a DVD player before. The stereo and everything for the car, all gifts, PlayStation 2. There wasn't $400 worth of games. All that stuff was considered gifts.
Bull!
The stuff for the apartment wasn't gifts, but the other stuff, personal items to me. Why does she need to buy a stereo for me?
Just a second. Are you playing with me or what?
No.
All right. A refrigerator isn't a gift.
I said the stuff for the apartment was not considered a gift. Okay.
PlayStation is for the apartment. An entertainment center is for the apartment. A TV is for the apartment. A DVD player is for the apartment. When you talk about personal gifts for you, you're talking about underwear. There's a difference between underwear
Maybe
or
that's
a belt
what you buy
or
your
socks.
husband, but that's not what she buys me.
Well, maybe not. How much you pay in child support?
$380 a month.
Since when?
Since the judgment was last month.
The judgment was made on May 2nd, Your Honor, and there has not even been one check that I have received yet. I had called his work this week, and they said that they would be taking the first payment out today.
So far you haven't paid anything?
No, that's the wrong.
No, he has paid when the baby was first born. Before we went to court, he did pay when he felt like paying.
Okay. Let me see your bills. I want to know what you took out. You took the TV?
Yes.
You took the DVD player?
Yes, ma'am.
You left him the refrigerator?
I did not leave him the refrigerator. When I moved out, I only had 2 friends and my mother to help me.
No, I'm asking you. You bought a refrigerator that stayed in the apartment.
Yes, it had stayed in the apartment because I couldn't move it. When I came back to move it, it was gone.
Why were you going to move it?
Because I was moving out. 2 days after we broke up, I was driving to go get my oil change, which was...
Listen to me. Was he working at the time that you were living together?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were working?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work do you do?
I now lay gas lines for
What were you doing then?
Working in a machine shop.
Okay, and what kind of work were you doing?
I'm a pharmacy technician.
Okay, were you earning similar money?
I was earning double to what he was earning.
And were you putting all your money into the bank? Into a joint account? You had a joint account?
No, we did not have a joint account.
How did you work out the bills?
He paid half, I paid half.
Half the credit card bills?
Half the credit card bills he never paid.
Half the credit card bills had been run up on plastic surgery and other items for herself before we were together.
I'm talking about after you were together. I'm talking about how much money you
when those
gave
bills
her.
came, I paid half of them.
He paid half the utilities and half the rent.
Do you have any checks with you to show me that you paid?
No, it was a cash transaction. I didn't know this was going to come to this a year later.
Right.
You know, we were together, and that's how relationships work.
Right. And all of this stuff was purchased at the time that you were living together?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what did you leave with?
When I left...
TV, VCR.
Yes.
What else?
The DVD player.
DVD. What else?
My bed. My dresser.
Were those things that were purchased?
Those were things that were purchased before we were even together.
I'm not talking about those things. The TV, VCR, and DVD player you purchased when you moved in?
No, the DVD player and the TV were purchased while we moved in.
Okay. What else did you leave with?
That was all that I left with while we were living together.
Okay.
That was purchased while we were living together.
Okay. Plus a PlayStation?
Yes.
A refrigerator?
Yes, ma'am.
And what else did you say you got?
Entertainment center.
Entertainment center.
Okay.
The car stereo.
Forget the car stereo. Listen, if you had to buy a car, you didn't have to put an expensive stereo. Didn't it come with a radio?
Yes,
radio.
it had the stock
AM,
stereo.
FM radio. Turn it on, you hum along.
He asked me
with your
if I would...
with your bills, you don't need a stereo. And I'm not entertaining stupidity.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She made a comment the other day, you know, I bought these things for you to try and make you happy when I was with you. Why would you say that if you wanted them all back? She bought them for me. It's a gift.
And later today,
I got a bag, put horse manure in it. I did see her car, and I shook the horse manure onto the trunk of the car, and I got in my car, and I drove away.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jessica Pinedo says the father of her baby, Travis Burke, stole her personal belongings.
Okay. Now, I want you to tell me how much the TV and the DVD player were.
The TV was about $500, and the DVD player was $189.
And the PlayStation?
I believe the receipt's in there. In
PlayStation?
The $300.
Refrigerator?
Was $542, I believe.
And the entertainment center?
Was $130.
You sure about all those figures?
It's all in the receipts. It came to $129.99, I believe.
Okay. And the VCR you say you had before?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So $500 plus $189, $689. That's the property you got. You got PlayStation and the games, plus $542 plus $130, $972. So let's say all these bills were paid. She got $689 worth of merchandise. You got $972 worth of merchandise. The only problem is she's still paying off the credit card. How much are you paying off on the credit card?
I had to get a bill consolidator because I had to go on disability because I almost lost our son twice. So I have a debt consolidator that pays approximately $10, $24, depending on who the creditor is, and then they automatically take something out of my account.
Well, it's clear that you only lived together for 2 months, so these bills could not have been paid off in 2 months on all the things that you bought. Is that right?
That's correct.
Total is $1,661 for all the items together.
You know, she made a comment the other day, you know, I bought these things for you to try and make you happy when I was with you. Why would you say that if you wanted them all back? She bought them for me. It's a gift.
Where is the PlayStation?
At my house.
And the refrigerator?
At my brother's house.
At your brother's house. What's it doing at your brother's house?
His garage. He needed a refrigerator in there.
Do you have a refrigerator?
But we have to rent one, Your Honor.
Good. What about the entertainment center?
I don't know where that is.
He sold it.
I've moved a couple times. It
was only worth $130 anyway.
It wasn't
right?
nothing big.
Right?
Yeah.
I just changed my mind about the money. Court will draft an order that within 5 days you are to deliver to her home the PlayStation and all the games, as well as the refrigerator that you get back from your brother within 5 days of this order. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
That way she's paying for it and she has the use of it. Clear? Perfect. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Don't get mixed up with this one because she'll screw you over bad.
He's done a lot of bad things to me. He's cheated on me.
It's an ongoing battle.
Now we have a child together, so I'm just doing the best I can.
If it isn't with my son, it's something else.
And I've taken him back every single time.
She won't go get a job. She won't go do anything to better herself.
I've done, as best as I can with what's been dealt to me.
We've tried to work things out for a year now, off and on.
I hope that we can get along for our son.
Nothing but friends so that my son will see a nice, loving environment.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Hardy versus Beaton. Step forward, please.
Groundskeeper Robin Hardy is suing Judy Beaton for dumping horse manure on her car. Judy admits she vandalized the car, but says Robin intentionally spooked her horse.
All right, Miss Beaton, I think we're going to start with you because you seem to acknowledge that you did, in fact, touch in some way the plaintiff's car. And you're going to tell me why you did that. Tell me when this incident happened and where you were.
Yes, Your Honor. It was March 12th. I was riding my horse on this road. I have photos if you'd like to see them.
Yes.
It's a very narrow, windy road with no sidewalks or sidebar to get off of the pavement. And I was almost back to my barn. I have to travel on the road about 100 yards from the trail to the barn. So I was just about to the driveway of the barn when I hear someone beeping in back of me 2 times, very long honking. My horse kind of caved in the back and took off down the road at a quick pace. And I wasn't ready for that, and I was almost toppled off. And I turned and I saw someone with a black car. And I yelled at the person. I said, "What are you, crazy?" And the person yelled back at me.
Person was the plaintiff.
Yes. I said something like, "What are you, a freaking idiot?" And she said, "Get out of the road," and passed me very close. As she passed me, she cut the wheel hard, almost hitting my German Shepherd dog who was in front of me, and sped off down the road. I tried to get a plate number, but I could just get a few initials, so that was it. And I went back to the barn, and I untacked my horse and put my horse away. I was really upset about it. My heart was pounding, and I've broken several bones on my horse before, and I have 4 children at home to take care of, so...
You took the saddle off your horse, and what did you do?
I got a bag, grain bag here, and I put horse manure in it, and I started to drive home thinking I might run into her car or her because I thought maybe she was going to walk her dogs that were in the car at the reservoir down the road. So as I drove home, I did see her car. It was the only car in a parking lot marked DPW vehicles only, so it wasn't very hard to find it. And I pulled in next to it, and I took out the bag out of my car here. It's a paper bag. It's not going to cause any damage. And I had horse manure in the bag, and I shook the horse manure onto the trunk of the car, and I got in my car, and I drove away.
Go ahead.
Okay, first of all, I do not have a trunk of a car, and I find it ridiculous that she'd be driving around with horse manure looking for trouble.
Tell me what happened.
Okay, I was driving down the road with my dogs to take them to the res for a walk, and I was going around a corner, and I seen the defendant in the middle of the road. I've had horses. I know horses will spook if the wind blows. So I stopped. She didn't notice me, so I beeped real lightly, 2 quick beeps, and she turned around. She didn't even move. She turned around and screamed, "What are you, an effing idiot?" So I slowly went around her, and I yelled back to, you know, get to the side of the road, wherever I yelled. I went to the res, walked my dogs, came back, and my hood windshield was covered with horse manure. Flipped out.
That was that flaky horse manure that she has there, or was it other kind of horse manure?
It wasn't that flaky.
What was it?
It wasn't wet, fresh horse manure.
It was more like that.
Yeah, but
Okay.
not quite as dry and fluff.
Okay.
And
So what did you do?
I called the police. They came down. They
And
helped
your
me.
windshield was covered.
Yes, and where the blades are, the wipers, it was packed in there. So that night, actually, I had to go somewhere, and I put my heat on. You could hear all the horse manure in the engine spitting out at me. I mean, I was really upset about it.
How did you find her?
I went to the stable the next day.
Because you figured it was her.
Yes, and I went there and seen her with her horse and told her. She stated it was not her. She's a school teacher. She has 2 kids. She wasn't even there at the time. She doesn't have a German Shepherd dog. And then the next day I went back there to tell the property owners, you know, what people are doing. I seen the nephew, and he told me that she was there, and she does have a black dog.
Okay, so she ultimately fessed up that it was her.
Exactly.
Okay, what kind of damage was done to the car, other than the mess?
I have pictures. Would you like to see them?
Yes.
Okay. The dent's right here. It's black, so it's hard to see. It's right there. There's 2 pictures there with the dent on it. And the third one is just a side profile of the car to see the condition.
Did you get an estimate on fixing it? It's hard to see.
Yes.
Can I see
have
the
2 of
estimate,
them.
please?
Yes. In fact, I went with the lowest estimate. I tried to be so reasonable with these people.
Okay. Anything you want to tell me?
Yes, Your Honor. The reason I didn't admit that it was me the next day at the barn is because she brought her husband with her, and they both came walking at me with scowls on their face, wanting to know who this girl was. So I denied it because I was at the barn by myself. And I said, if you do find this girl, I said, what do you want from her? And they both said, almost in sync, we just want an apology. Then as the days went on, it went to $1,100 for a new hood.
$685.
It went down. There was several estimates.
That's what happens when you have estimates.
So actually, I went to the police because she was relentless to the owners of the barn, showing up, wanting my name and address. I had given her my cell phone number that day at the barn because I wanted to take it off of the owner and let her deal with me. Because I figured she would find out that it was me and I would be the one.
Okay, so you finally fessed up. Why did you go that extra step? I'm just curious.
I was just very upset, and I don't know. I was sorry after I did it, but it was too late.
It's the wrong thing to do. Go ahead.
So we actually had a conference call, Your Honor, with the Wilmington Police Department to settle this because it just went on.
I have that police report. if you'd
I'd like to see it.
It went on and on for days and maybe a week and a half, and I just want it to be over. So Officer from Wilmington Police Department.
It's the first paragraph, Your Honor.
Just a minute. Go ahead.
I had to go and file a no trespass order against Robin because she wouldn't stop going to the barn, and the owners were pressuring me to get rid of her because they were busy. They have children, and they didn't want her constantly stopping over there. So I filed a no trespass order against the barn address, not my address. And when I was at the Wilmington Police Department, he asked me if I would be interested in settling this, and I said yes. The next day, he called me at home, and we were both on the phone with Officer. And we talked, and I said, you know, I didn't damage your car. I may have put the manure on it. I did not dent your car. It's soft. I didn't do it.
Oh, but when you put the whole bag on the car in order to get it out, it dented the hood. It may have been very light stuff that was poured on it, but when all of it is in a bag and you fling it on a hood in order to spread it around, it caused a dent. It caused a dent, and you have to pay. And it was a stupid thing to do, Miss Beaton. So you have to pay for stupidity. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $685. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks have seats.
Mr. Faust, you claim a loan to the defendant for some bad checks that she wrote, and also the return of some property that she has that you claim is really your property. Defendant says there was never a loan, that the property that you claim is yours was really a gift to her, and she has a counterclaim for some harassment nonsense and the return of some animals that she says that you have that belong to her. So let's start with this loan, which is really the big part of this case. Ms. Nowaski, you wrote some bad checks? When?
2 years ago.
And you were dating Mr. Faust at the time?
Yes.
And you agreed to make good on those bad checks?
Yes, I did.
So that she would not either be prosecuted or worse?
Correct.
Tell me about that, sir.
Basically, we started dating in August of '99, and approximately about mid-January of 2001, she came to me that she was served with papers that was going to go to court, and she had nowhere to go.
Well, what did she say to you?
Basically that she was in a tight spot. She was upset and crying. We worked at the same place of work. So she came back to my office that day. She was served during lunch, and we went out to lunch, and she was upset about it.
And what did you say to her?
Basically, I was a little upset because she hadn't came to me because this had been going on for several months, and she was evading the companies and the phone calls and even attempting to make payments. So I was a little upset because I was lending her some money here and there that wasn't expected back during this whole time also.
That wasn't expected back? So you were not lending her, you were giving her money?
$10, $15 a week type thing just to help her out for gasoline or for lunch type thing. I was usually paying for the lunch.
What were you doing with all your money?
So.
Is not an answer. What were you doing with your money? If you're working, what were you doing with your money?
I was working. I wasn't making a lot of money, and I was spending too much money. And the checks went through, and they went bad.
On what?
Clothes, grocery shopping.
Grocery
like
shopping
that.
you can afford.
Just things like that.
That's not being honest with me.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. You're working, you're paying rent, and you buy groceries. That doesn't make you write bad checks. What makes you write bad checks are things that you shouldn't be buying, other than clothes. What else?
CDs, just stuff like that.
Okay. So he made good on your checks?
Yes.
So why do you feel as if you shouldn't pay him back?
We didn't have an agreement that I would pay him back.
What was your agreement?
He came to work. I had the papers. He came to my work and said that he would call him and take care of it. So he called him up and
he wouldn't have known about it. Listen to me. He didn't come into your office one day and say, let me see those papers. What happened is you contacted him and told him that you got served with a summons.
Right.
Is that right?
Yes.
And was that during the day, during business hours?
Yes.
So you were pretty upset?
Yes.
What did he say to you when you said you were crying and you were pretty upset?
He said he would take care of it. That's exactly what he said. He said.
And what did you say to him?
I didn't know what to do. I said, okay. He called them up and he paid them for me.
Mm-hmm. Why should he do that for you?
Because he loved me.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And is that why you let him do it?
I let him do it because I had nothing else that I could do.
Do you love him now?
No.
Then why don't you pay him back?
We never had an agreement to. He has constantly, first it was $600 he wanted, and then it was $1,000, then it was $1,400.
How much were your checks, the bad checks?
It was $600.
Show me.
I don't have a copy of it.
Show me how much amount of the total bad checks.
125.01 was the first check, and that following week I had called them to let them know that.
Who's them?
URS. And they had told me how much it was, the $600, which was in the packet. So I told them, well, I'm about $100 short. I'll have to call you on Tuesday. I called them on Tuesday to let them know you can clear that check through because they're going to do it electronically. What it came down to is where her checks had gone to. She had a credit card that had gone bad or something, and so she was being collected after a credit card. So when I called on Tuesday, he said, well, we have a problem. I had 4 more come in since I talked to you on Thursday.
Were there any other bad checks that you covered?
Yes, there was.
So she's a Bad check writer.
Yes. So I had another. She had another $644.98 to Valley Empire Collections go through.
Let me see.
And I agreed to only loan her a portion of it, and that was a $349. And she had told me that she would try to get the other $259 from her grandmother, which, from what I gather, she did, because the next couple months she was paying her grandmother back.
Did you pay your grandmother?
Yes, I did, and he didn't pay any of that. He told me that he was not going to help me out on that
Well,
one.
here he's got his card here.
Right. On that one that he's talking about, I called...
Got the receipt.
He didn't pay any of that one.
Who did?
My grandmother did.
Got the receipt here for $349.62.
I didn't get any money from him on that one.
So let me ask you this question, madam. For all these bad checks, how much did you end up paying?
I would say probably $2,000 to $3,000. I got myself in a lot of trouble.
$2,000 to $3,000?
Yes.
Well, he paid $1,428 for you. You mean in addition to that, you paid an additional $2,000 or $3,000?
Yes.
Starting when and to whom?
Starting about 2 years ago, about 6 months after we started dating each other.
So you mean that there were bad checks that you didn't tell him about?
Yes.
Really? Mm-hmm. Did you know that, sir?
No, I wasn't. This is the first I've heard of this, other than when...
Really? Do you have any proof of that?
No, I don't.
Really?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He bought me a rabbit, a goose, and a duck.
Listen, your smile goes Zippo with me. That goes nowhere.
And later today...
The chants and the chimes and things are playing, and I and my friend are looking at one another saying, you know what, this may not work out.
It's not a hotel.
What is it?
It's a spiritual community.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Brian Faust says ex-girlfriend Noelle Nowaski owes for a loan to pay off her bounced checks and for the return of a gun. Noelle says Bryant won't return her rabbit, her goose, and her duck.
Now you want to tell me about this gun that you want back?
Basically, on the gun I'd purchased on my birthday, my 27th birthday, July 1st of 2000.
What kind of gun?
It's a Jennings 38.
Mhm.
I'd bought it for myself, took it to her house, had wrapped it up at her house on my birthday, and unwrapped it as a present to myself.
So you unwrapped the gun as a present to yourself, and what'd you do with it?
Gave it to myself.
You gave it to yourself. And
Gave
how
it to
did
myself. It was my own birthday present on my birthday.
Right. How did it wind up in her house?
Because end of July, we had gone out shooting, and she said she'd take it home and clean it and get familiar with firearms a little more. So, and then after that, I let her borrow it when she'd go out shooting with just her brother or her father.
After July of 2001, are you telling me that the gun remains in her possession?
I had it back about 3 times.
For a day?
For like a weekend.
And then you'd return it to her?
And then she'd call me up and want to go out shooting again. So I let her take that because it was a lower caliber. So I let her
Now
possess
I'll hear
it.
your side of the story with regard to the gun.
That was my 21st birthday present. My birthday is July 12th, just 2 weeks after his birthday. He came over for my birthday. My brother, my mother, my dad was there, and he was giving me my gifts, and one of them was the gun.
Did the gun remain pretty much in your possession all
Yes.
during that time?
Yes, it's been in my father's gun locker ever since then.
And what about this mattress?
I've been doing search and rescue for Spokane. I've got double of everything because I got a 24-hour pack and a 72-hour pack.
At some point, it came into her possession. You want to tell me your version
It came
of how
into
that
possession in 2001 of July because we were out camping last year. And I had shown up where they were camping, and I brought some extra camping gear, my tent and
It's
sleeping
been
pads.
in her possession
It's been in
for
her
a year.
possession for a year because I had to leave and go to work the next morning, and she was using it
over it,
still
Mr.
for the next night.
Get over it, Mr.
So,
Faust.
that's fine.
Get over that. By the way, do guns have to be registered in the state
Yes,
where
they
you
are.
live?
I have a copy of all that.
Can
and a
I see
picture.
Can I see the registration, please?
And then I also, on July 2nd, had made a stolen gun report.
You have a carry permit to
Yes,
carry?
I do, Your Honor.
Do you have a carry permit?
No, I do not.
You return the gun to him.
Thank you.
You understand that? Perfect. $1428 is what you owe him for your bad checks. Now,
Also on
and the
that,
gun.
it's actually less because after we broke up, she sent me 2 money orders,
In what amount?
20 each.
$1388. Okay. Now, taking care of the gun's going back, the mattress stays with her. The harassment charge, because he drove by your work a couple of times, I'm not even entertaining, madam. The only thing I'm entertaining are these animals that you say that he has that belong to you. What animals do you say that he has that belong to you?
He bought me a rabbit, a goose, and a duck, and we kept them up at his house because I could not keep them in my yard, and he will not give them back.
Well, are you living in the same place now that you were living
Yes.
before? So if you couldn't keep them in your yard before, what makes you think you can keep them in your yard now?
I can't.
So what do you want them for?
They're mine.
What are you going to do with them? Listen, your smile goes Zippo with me. That goes nowhere. If I give them back to you, what do you intend to do with them?
I'm going to take them to, my cousin has a farm in Montana.
And where do you live?
Spokane Valley, in the city.
All right, so you're going to get on a plane with your duck.
No, I'm driving down there next week.
Really? And what do you do with the animals, sir?
I live on a farm, Your Honor.
Fine, you keep them.
Thank you.
There's something wrong with her. You got out just in time,
Yes,
so your
I did.
counterclaim is dismissed. You have my order on your claim. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He's a controller. He tried to control everything in our relationship.
I found out more info in there before I decided to marry her, so it's good it came to this.
He treated me like I was his daughter more than his girlfriend.
She was wanting me to pay for more stuff than what she was willing to pay for.
He's mad I broke up with him.
No matter how much you think you know somebody or care for somebody, you never know.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Aaron versus Parusha Das. Step forward, please.
22-year-old airline employee Michael Aaron is suing guest house manager Adi Parusha Das for the refund of a room deposit and for the cost to stay at a hotel. Michael says the guest house turned out to be a Hare Krishna commune.
Mr. Aaron, you made a reservation along with a friend to stay at the defendant's hotel.
That's correct.
Where is his hotel located?
New York, in the East Village.
And where were you visiting from?
Columbus, Ohio.
How did you find out about his hotel?
I had a book that listed a lot of hotels, and actually I called a hotel called the Chelsea. Their hotel was full at the time, and they gave me the telephone number to the sanctuary guest room.
And you were looking for an inexpensive hotel?
That's correct.
Okay. Your lawsuit wants following. You went to his hotel. You had prepaid for 2 nights?
Correct.
You didn't like it. You checked into the room. You went elsewhere and found a room in another hotel. You want the defendant to pay the difference between his hotel and the second hotel that you found.
That's correct.
For 2 nights.
Yes, ma'am.
And also the deposit that you gave for both nights.
Well, I have received the deposit from one night. We made an agreement to get my money back from the Sunday night. But I did not receive the $95 back for the Saturday night stay.
When did you arrive at the hotel?
May 25th, a Saturday, around 3 o'clock.
And were you shown the room?
No, not before I paid.
So you paid, and how much did you give him at that point?
$200, $95 a night, plus a $10 room key deposit.
And then you went up to the room?
Correct.
And?
We went in, I and my friend, Mr. Tannehill, went into the room, and we looked at the beds, and there wasn't a television, and there wasn't a telephone or anything, and all you smelled were incense, and there were pictures of Jesus and Buddha, and the chants and the chimes and things were playing. And I and my friend are looking at one another saying, you know what, this may not work out.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Michael Aaron is suing guest house manager Adi Parusha Das for the refund of a room deposit and for the cost to stay at a hotel. Michael says the guest house turned out to be a Hare Krishna commune.
I have pictures of the room also, if you'd like to take a look, Your Honor.
I would.
We sat down on the bed, and the bed was as hard as a desk. There was no mattress. And we were aware that there was a full-size bed and twin-size bed, but they were actually something like bunk beds. And there was a lamp in the room, and that's all there was. And there were a whole lot of
Okay, it was a
scarves
room.
hanging around. Yeah,
It was a room. So you didn't like it. So you and your friend left and went out looking for another hotel.
that's correct.
And you found one.
Correct.
And how much was the hotel that you found?
$159 a night. That was tax included. Came to $322 and some change.
You don't honestly expect him to pay the difference between his room and another hotel room.
Actually, I do, Your Honor. You know, had Mr. Audi given me advance notice, we had no idea what this hotel was. The rules were there's no smoking, and we knew that in advance. No drinking, didn't know that. No eating meat, didn't know that. No guest in the hotel room, we didn't know that. And you couldn't talk after 9 o'clock because there's praying going on, Your Honor. We were not told those rules in advance at all. We didn't sign a no refund slip. We weren't made aware of any no refund policy, and we were not made aware of any cancellation policy. So under those circumstances, I do believe that he owes
He should
me
pay the difference.
The $95.
I'm not talking about the $95, sir. I'm talking about the difference between his hotel room and the hotel room that you ultimately found.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, you don't get that, because that's ridiculous. You found a hotel room that was substantially more expensive, where I'm sure there was a television, right?
Yes.
And a telephone,
Yes, Your Honor.
and a nice shower,
Yes, Your Honor.
and two much more comfortable beds,
Yes, Your Honor.
and the cost was a lot more.
Correct.
So, you want your comfort, you pay for it. You didn't plan on eating meat in the room anyway, did you?
What?
Huh?
Well, Your Honor, you know, if you go to a restaurant, you bring something back, you know, it wasn't allowed in the hotel at all.
No. So, I mean, you know. I mean, that wasn't your plan, to, you know.
Not planning on
you
it,
know,
no.
to barbecue a beef in your
No,
room.
not a barbecue.
Now, Mr. Parushada, do you have something that you give to your tenants? Rules of your hotel?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, we don't.
You don't?
We tell them verbally.
Do you, sir, have a policy in the hotel that you cannot have guests in your room?
No unregistered guests, yes, we do.
In the room?
Yeah.
And do you have a policy in your hotel that there is no talking after 9 o'clock?
No, we don't, Your Honor.
You don't. So you can't talk after 9 o'clock?
Of course.
Well, what is he talking about that you can't talk after 9 o'clock? What kind of rule is he talking
It's
about?
not a hotel.
What is it?
It's a spiritual community. It's like staying in a monastery.
Did you explain that to Mr. Aaron at the time he booked this room?
Mr. Aaron was referred to us by a friend of ours who refers a lot of people to us. The friend, when he was making some protest, he said, nobody told me this, nobody. I said, wait a minute. Charles, did you refer Michael Aaron here? He said, yes. I said, did you tell him where you're sending him? He said, yes. I said, he says, whenever I send anybody, because this is a very unusual place that we have, it's not an ordinary hotel. Charles said, this is exactly what I tell everybody that I send there, Audie.
Well, that would be hearsay coming from you, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Aaron.
Yes, Your Honor.
I think that you're a trustworthy guy. Were you told what kind of a place you were going to when you made this reservation, sir?
Your Honor, the only thing I was told that it was, they had breakfast in the mornings, it was around $100 a night, and there was no smoking. Those are the rules, and those were the circumstances that I was told about.
Did
in
anybody
advance.
tell you that this was a spiritual community?
No, Your Honor. If I was told that, I wouldn't have been at the hotel. It's simple as that.
Mr. Parushada.
Yeah.
Ordinarily, I would say to you, if you ran a hotel, and if Mr. Aaron came to your hotel,
Right.
checked in, didn't like his room, and left, I would say, he is forfeited. You know, that night, he did in fact check in. But I believe that he was not told what kind of arrangement this was. And if he was not forewarned as to what kind of an arrangement this was, he should be entitled.
Ward.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat, please.
Ms. Peters, you and Miss Ward were roommates. It is your claim that after a failed road trip that didn't work out as well as you expected, Miss Ward decided to stay home.
Yes.
And she left you in the lurch with the lease. You want her to pay the rent. In addition, you say that she stole some money from you and that she at some point damaged your car. You want her to pay for that.
Yes.
Ms. Ward says she was pregnant, decided to stay home with her parents, I assume, that she denies taking any of your money, and she says that the damage to the car just didn't happen. She also says that your boyfriend moved in with you into the apartment and he wasn't paying his fair share of the rent. So, is this your boyfriend?
Yes.
How many people signed the lease to the apartment?
2, me and Holly.
Did Holly have a boyfriend living with her?
No.
But your boyfriend was living with you?
He wasn't living there. He was.
Yeah, he is.
Yes,
he lives
was.
there. He lives there. Don't tell me he wasn't living there. He lives there.
Okay.
Don't speak unless I speak to you. You want me to get the address that you listed, sir, when you filled out the forms for this program?
Yes.
Do you want me to get the forms that you filled out with the
Yes.
address?
I put 718.
And who lives there?
My mother.
What's your mother's phone number?
She doesn't have a phone.
Oh, everybody has a phone,
But
sir.
there's a number you could reach her at, but she don't have a phone herself.
You get what I'm saying to you, madam?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. When did you sign this lease with the defendant?
On December 1st, 2006.
And when did you take this road trip?
In the beginning of April, like April
15th.
Where's the father of this baby that you're having?
In Ohio.
And where are you living now?
Alabama.
Who went on the road trip?
The three of us.
Whose car did you use?
Amanda's.
You got stopped and you were all arrested for drug possession, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
What happened with your case?
I got 2 years probation.
What about you?
I just got charged as a misdemeanor and got fined. She got charged with all that because she was pregnant.
I got charged
doing
with a
drugs while
misdemeanor
she
and got
was
a
pregnant.
We all three got, well, me and Amanda got charged with possession too.
And what about you?
I did 31 days because wouldn't nobody sign for me.
No, he got 30 days because he had prior possessions.
No, I got 30 days. That is untrue, Your Honor.
Now, what is the rent?
It's $500 a month.
Stand up. Your last name?
Lucky, L-U-C-K-E-Y.
I'm not so sure.
I heard that.
Who do you work for?
I work for Ford.
What do you do for them?
I clean cubicle offices.
What kind of work do you do, Miss Peters?
I'm a waitress.
Fine. Mr. Lucky,
Yes.
you may have to kick in for some rent, sir. Do you understand?
I wasn't standing there at the time.
Well, now
Yes, he was.
now just a second.
No,
Just a second. Now you can stay there.
Well, she shouldn't have signed my lease.
Mr. Lucky, when did you arrive from Ohio?
We arrived Tuesday.
You arrived Tuesday.
Yesterday.
Shh.
Yes.
And where are you staying?
I'm staying at the Sheraton Hotel.
And where are you staying, Miss Peters?
At the Sheraton Hotel.
In the same room?
Yes.
And when you go back to Ohio, you're going to go back and stay with your mother. Is that what you're telling me?
And yes.
I'm
after
giving you
this case
permission. You
left.
could stay with Miss Peters.
I didn't
And now
want to
you're
stay
going to
with
pay.
her because
And now
of
you're
this
going to
issue.
pay the rent. Sit down. Who brought the marijuana into the car?
All three of us did.
That wasn't mine.
No.
All
was
three of
Holly.
us did. All
Holly
three of us
did.
did. We all three went to jail for the possession.
It's not what I asked you. I said, who brought it into the car?
Holly.
Holly.
Lucky. I didn't. Lucky sells marijuana.
Oh, okay.
That's
No,
his
no,
job.
that's
Prior
not
to
That's
2
not
months
true.
before, he didn't have this job now.
That's a lie. She
Now,
made that up.
shh. Now, when is your baby due?
I already had him.
You already
June
had your baby.
29th, yes.
And who's taking care of your baby now?
My mother.
Baby healthy?
Mm-hmm.
You weren't stupid enough to smoke marijuana while you were pregnant,
Actually, I
were
was.
you? Yeah.
That's how she got 2 years.
That's,
Was drinking and a whole bunch of other stuff she
I
did
didn't
while she
drink
was
with my
pregnant.
baby. My baby was perfectly
Yes, you
healthy,
did.
born 4 weeks early, didn't need anything. 6 pounds, 8 ounces.
great. Okay. So now, Miss Peters,
Yes.
now you have your boyfriend living with you. How big is this apartment, by the way?
It's a 2-bedroom apartment.
Well, Your Honor, at first, when I first moved in with Amanda, it was in March of 2005. Lucky moved in June of 2005. We were all living in a 1-bedroom apartment. Then his cousin moved in, Lewis, with his baby mama, Shataya. We all 5 lived there. I still paid half the rent.
Just
They
a
didn't pay
second.
nothing.
No.
Just a second. How long? Quiet.
And his cousin got a job at our job.
Just a second. How long did his cousin and his
They lived
baby
there.
mama live there?
They lived there from
What?
from October till December when we got our 2-bedroom and they got their 1-bedroom apartment.
What's your cousin's name?
My cousin's name is Lewis, and he was not living there.
Yes, he was, Your Honor.
Listen,
Okay,
I am
he'll
very,
move
very
somebody
unhappy
else.
about
Yeah.
this whole situation. All I can tell you, Miss Peters, is now you can have your boyfriend full-time. Your boyfriend of 6 years full-time. He's going to live with you and he's going to pay the rent. You get nothing from her. Next. Now, let's talk about this stolen money. You say that she stole money from you.
Yes.
You
No,
know
from
this.
her and her
Shh,
boyfriend.
I don't want to hear you.
Okay.
I'm not happy with you either. Anyone who smokes dope while they're pregnant is an idiot.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When the wallet came up missing, she had to have been there. Otherwise, how could she get it? Not from Ohio to Alabama.
No,
She has
it
that
was
very
months
long
ago.
arms.
And later today,
Where do you think it's all his responsibility?
Because he was told to put it back, and he didn't.
Who told him to put it back?
All of them.
They did not tell him to put it back. What are you, nuts?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Amanda Peters claims ex-roommate Holly Ward owes for breaking an apartment lease, stealing money from her wallet, and for damaging her car.
Now, tell me about this alleged money.
All right. I gave my boyfriend $300 to put up for me. I was going to put my car in the shop and have some work done to it. Well, I picked him up one night. He was going to come spend the night with me. The wallet came up missing that night while he was at the house. Yeah, I went to drop him off the next morning, and the wallet wasn't there.
And?
And He said it was Holly all along. I mean, I really didn't think it was at first, but I found the wallet in her room when I was cleaning it out after she left.
Where's the wallet?
It's right here.
Let me see it.
Can I? Shh. Okay.
When, for the first time, did you tell Holly about the missing wallet?
I didn't tell her.
You didn't tell her?
No, she was in Alabama when I found it.
You didn't call her?
No.
No, I'm not saying when you found it. Listen to me. Miss Peters, when the wallet came up missing, she had to have been there. Otherwise, how could she get it? Not from Ohio to Alabama.
No,
she has
it
that
was
very
months
long
ago.
arms. Now, so when did you first discuss with her the fact that this wallet was missing?
Oh, it was around the time when we moved into our two-bedroom apartment. So
And
around
how long did you live in the two-bedroom apartment?
I'm still there now. So from December until now.
How long did she live there?
Until April 15th.
So the wallet came up missing in December?
Yes.
And you found it when?
And when I came back May 9th or 8th, I mean.
Yeah, do me a favor. Return that to her. Tell me about the damaged car.
She damaged my car, parallel parking it.
When?
In November, the first week of November.
November of 06?
Yes, ma'am.
Show me the bill where you had it fixed.
I haven't gotten it fixed yet. I haven't had the money. But I have an estimate from where we both took it in. She came with me when I got the estimate.
Oh, well, tell me how it happened.
Oh, she parallel.
I didn't ask
He
you.
was in the car. I wasn't in the car. She asked to borrow my car one day, and she brought it back with these scratches on the front bumper.
Let
he
me
was
see
in
the
car.
pictures of the front bumper. How did you scratch the bumper?
I didn't scratch the front of her car.
Who did?
Lucky. He was on his way to school in November, and at a red light, he hit the back of another car.
I have a picture of the
That's
truck that she hit also with the dent in the bumper
Just a
where
second.
she hit
She
it.
says it was Lucky.
It wasn't. She went with me when I got the statement.
I did not go with her. I was at work when she got that statement done with Lucky.
She had borrowed Amanda's car, and I needed to go home that following morning.
He was living with us. Why would I
don't want you to interrupt. If you interrupt again, it's not going to be good for you. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So on the way taking me home to my mother's house, she was trying to parallel park in front of another car, and she hit the back.
On the way, she was trying to parallel park?
No, when we got to my mother's house.
Why was she going to parallel park if she was just dropping you off?
Because she was parking to drop me off.
Why was she parking to drop you off? Why didn't you just come?
She was the driver.
Yeah, I don't believe it. Goodbye. You all deserve each other. That's it. Case is dismissed. Take him outside, Bert. You can't look at him.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She knows she owes me money. She's a liar.
She wanted money because obviously her boyfriend, who has been living with us, hasn't been paying bills, and he's probably not doing it now.
She stole some money from me. I didn't find out about it until I came home. She wrecked my car, never paid for it.
All three of us smoked marijuana. He had drugs in our apartment all the time. He was selling them. I helped him sell them.
She put it in the glove compartment, and they pulled us over. And when they found the marijuana in the glove compartment, they charged everybody with it.
Don't smoke while you're pregnant.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Cotton versus Stritt matter, step forward, please.
Julie and David Cotton are suing family friend, 18-year-old Dylan Strittmatter, for crashing a golf cart during their wedding reception. Dylan claims he is not guilty.
Who was getting married?
Julie and I.
According to your complaint, Miss Cotton, your family lives on the river.
Correct.
Is that where the wedding was?
Yes.
The defendant is the son of an old family friend, and because there was so much land and the venue was spread out, you rented 2 golf carts to sort of help people get from one place to another, especially people who might have been a little older. Those golf carts were just rented for the event. Okay. It is your claim that the defendant, without permission, drove one of those golf carts and damaged it. You're being charged by the rental company for the damage to the golf cart, and you want him to pay for it.
Correct.
Who saw Mr. Strittmatter riding the golf cart?
Tristan Hall.
How old are you, Mr. Hall?
18.
What do you know about Mr. Strittmatter and the golf cart?
Well, I was the guy in charge of taking people to and from the parking to the wedding, and we were at the reception.
At the golf cart, with the golf cart.
Right. And after the wedding, we went to the reception, and we had the 2 golf carts parked over there. And we were all sitting around eating, and I saw them take off in the golf cart, and we just went out. I went out there after them to see what.
Saw who taking off?
Dylan and Greg.
That's Dylan would be you?
Yes.
And who's Greg?
I'm Greg.
Perfect. I love it. No, I didn't ask you to go over there yet.
Well,
I didn't ask you to go over there yet.
Okay. That is a lot.
I didn't go over.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Oh, Miss Cotton, you're going to talk to me. You, me. Maybe you're used to getting the last word. I'm trying to tell you, it's your responsibility to ensure no underage drinking at your venue.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Julie and David Cotton claim family friend Dylan Strittmatter owes for crashing a golf cart during their wedding reception.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I went out there and we were riding around for a little while.
Who was riding around?
Me, Dylan, and Greg.
How did you get on the golf cart?
Because I went out there. When I saw him riding around, I walked out there.
So you walked outside, and the three of you got on the golf cart.
Right. Well, they were on it first. I went out there. After they were already on it, I went out there.
Who drove?
They were driving. We all took turns driving.
Who drove first?
Tristan drove first, but there's also a fourth person in the party. Their son Chase was also in the golf cart, and he also drove it with us.
Is that right?
Chase was in the golf cart, yes.
So who drove first?
I guess I drove first.
Who drove second?
Chase drove second.
Who drove third?
I drove third.
All right, what happened next?
Okay, so we're driving around, and we were just driving around with the golf cart, and after a little while, I said, okay, we should probably bring this back. So we were on our way back down this road, and that's whenever he thought he could make it through these two rocks, if that's what you want to call them. They were more like boulders, and then he just ran into one of them.
Now, did you know you weren't supposed to be driving around in that golf cart at that time?
In the back of my mind, I did.
And did you know you weren't supposed to be Hey, did you look at me? Did you know you weren't supposed to be driving around in the golf cart at that time?
Yes, I knew that.
Did you know you weren't supposed to be driving around at that time? And I assume your son knew that he wasn't supposed to be driving around that time.
That's correct.
So what are you suing him for?
Because he had been drinking at the wedding at my mom's, and I had told him to put it down, and I saw them take off, but mind you, I'm in the middle of my reception, and I heard them, and so did my friends, hear them screaming, come on, let's go get on the golf cart. It was just those two, and they were drunk at our wedding. They did take it. The owner of the...
Your son was there. How old is he?
13.
What'd you do to him?
Actually, both of my sons had told them, and so had Tristan, to stop, and he was driving
driving around in the golf cart.
Well, a little more than driving. He was driving erratically.
Just a second. Where do you think it's all his responsibility?
Because he was told to put it back, and he didn't.
Who told him to put it back?
All of them.
They did not. They were driving around with it. They did not tell him to put it back. What are you, nuts? Listen, Miss Cotton.
Yes.
If you're telling me that you saw them get in the golf cart and drive around with it, and you didn't leave your reception to go and stop them from driving around with it.
My oldest son actually did.
He's not here. You, not your son. Your 13-year-old was in the golf cart.
Right, but my oldest son also took the keys from them.
Did you see that?
No, but they all told me, and the owner
I can't
of the
tell
golf
you anything,
cart.
Miss Cotton. You have a responsibility. A golf cart is an attractive nuisance. That's what it is for young people. That's why your 13-year-old got in the golf cart.
Well, I mean, he admitted to wrecking it and told us he was sorry.
They were all involved in it. If anything, he's responsible for a quarter of it, not for the whole thing. Your son is responsible, therefore you're responsible for a quarter.
My son is 13.
He's responsible for a quarter. He's responsible for a quarter. He's not responsible for the whole damage to the golf cart. They shouldn't have been in the golf cart to begin with. And if you saw them and you're the grown-up, you should have seen to it that they weren't in the golf cart.
Can I say something?
Listen, if you knew he was drinking, what's the drinking age where you are anyway?
21.
If he got hurt and he had been drinking at your wedding, he would have owned that house on the river.
I can't control him. He's not my child.
Oh, yes, you can. You can put him out of your house.
He wasn't at our house. It was an open field. We weren't there. He went off in a different area.
Miss Cotton, it's your responsibility when you have an event to ensure that there is no underage drinking. And based upon what you tell me, you saw him drinking and drunk at your wedding. You then saw him get into a golf cart and drive away. And it was your reception, and you couldn't do anything about it because you didn't want to leave the reception. That's what you told me.
I didn't see him get in. I heard them say they were going to do it and take off, and people were
Miss Cotton, I'm getting less and less sympathy for you. I mean, that doesn't give him any right to do that. And he's going to pay for 1/4 of the damage. But I have less and less sympathy for you. You planned a wedding, and you had a bunch of kids, including these two people, not only the defendant, who were drinking at your wedding. And that's your responsibility. You are responsible for the venue. That's what the law says. And if they had gotten into a car instead of a golf cart. And instead of going between a boulder and scratching your golf cart, which is what he did, he got into his car and he killed somebody. You know who they'd come after? You. That's what the law says.
I didn't serve him the alcohol, and he stole
You
it.
did serve him alcohol.
I did.
Duh.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to JudgeJudy.com or call 1-888-800-JUDY.
Now,
Oh, actually, we didn't serve him the alcohol.
you did serve him alcohol.
Well, I mean, it's in a bar area. Anybody can walk to the bar and get it.
He didn't get it from the bar. He did go and take
Did you get it from the bar?
Actually, there was a fountain outside the wedding reception that had
Right.
wine, and there was a cup there and cups, and you could just go in and pour yourself some.
And did you not look at me and I told
Just
you
a
to put
second.
it down?
Just a second.
Oh,
Is
yes,
that what
you
you're
did,
telling me?
Dylan.
Then what you do is when you have children and you have open alcohol, you ensure that the children who are there don't drink the alcohol.
Well,
Miss Cotton, you're going to talk to me. You, me. Maybe you're used to getting the last word. I'm trying to tell you that based upon 16 years of education and 30 years in the judicial system, it's your responsibility to ensure no underage drinking at your venue. Do you understand?
Yeah.
How much is it going to cost to fix this golf cart?
$1,119.35.
Your responsibility is $279, young man. Do you understand?
Yes.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $279, only because you have to accept a certain amount of responsibility. Think that's reasonable? Sure. Good. That's all.
Anh lại dâng lên những cảm xúc ngọt ngào. Dịu dàng là em, những yêu thương chẳng phai, như dòng suối mang lành chảy mãi không ngừng. Một phút giây bên em thật yên bình, cả cuộc đời anh chỉ muốn được yêu em. Em nhé bên anh chẳng cần lời nói hoa mỹ, chỉ cần ánh mắt, chỉ cần sự quan tâm giản dị. Mọi thứ em làm đều như một phép màu, đến thế giới của anh thành nơi ngập tràn yêu dấu. Em là khúc nhạc ru anh vào những giấc mơ, là hơi ấm khiến tim anh không còn bơ vơ. Có em bên cạnh, mọi điều dường như lấp lẽ, chỉ còn những yêu thương dịu dàng lên ngôi. Dòng thời gian có cho nhanh hay chậm, tình yêu này vẫn mãi về nguyên không hề thay đổi. Dịu dàng là em, những yêu thương chẳng phai, như dòng suối mát lành chảy mãi không ngừng. Một phút giây bên em thật yên bình, cả cuộc đời anh chỉ muốn được yêu em. Em bên em đã chẳng thấy tình yêu có thể đẹp đến thế.
Children.
I have a total of 4, and I have 2 that live with me.
So you moved in with Mr. Boudreau with your 2 children?
Actually, we got the place together. He was living at the time with his parents.
Did you sign a lease together?
I was the main person on the lease.
Then the answer is only you signed the lease.
All our information was on there. For
Who signed the lease? Raise your hand.
Both of us did.
Great. As joint tenants?
Yes.
Now, it is your complaint, Mr. Boudreau, that after the 2 of you separated, Miss Kassler went to a joint bank account and she withdrew some money. That's $1,600.
Yes.
And she had not put that money into the account. That was your money, because
Correct.
this was sometime after you had separated that she closed the account.
Yes.
Ms. Kassler has a variety of reasons why she believes she was entitled to that money, and she's going to explain that to me. When did you move into this apartment together?
November 22nd of 2003.
And when did you move out of the apartment?
May 14th, 2005.
So you lived together for some period of time.
Yes, ma'am.
And your arrangement was, according to what I read, that each of you would put in $800 a month to cover your household expenses.
Correct.
Correct.
When was the last time you put money in that account, Ms. Kassler?
April 3rd.
April of 2005.
2005. I apologize.
At that time, you were still living there, so that $800 covered May rent.
Actually, that was for April's rent and bills.
Is that right?
Yes.
What was the rent?
$1,100.
And you had gas, electric, cable,
Correct.
whatever. So I would assume that at the end of each month, there wasn't much left over from this $800 a month. That $800 a month just pretty much covered the bills
Some
for each
months,
month.
yes.
Okay, good. Now, when did you withdraw this money, Ms. Kessler, from the account?
When I took it all out, it was in June.
Now, Ms. Kessler, you knew that in June of 2005 it had been 2 months since you put any money into the account. And if there was money in the account, it was money that Mr. Boudreau had put in the account. Is that right?
Correct.
So now the ball is in your court, madam, to explain to me why you believe you're entitled to that money.
There were various months, which I have all written out here, that I put in over the $800 to cover the bills, and some months I put in extra to cover the rent because Mr. Boudreau was not working. And Mr. Boudreau also stated that when we moved with him to North Carolina, that if we were not happy, he would pay to move us back to North Carolina. I ended up having to pay to move myself back here. My son was a witness to a lot of these conversations. That's why he is here. But I ended up putting over $2,270 extra in that account to cover bills.
How much extra did Mr. Boudreau put in the account some months?
None.
What you're saying to me, twofold. What you're saying to me is twofold. That the reason you took that money out, stop playing with your papers, Mr. Boudreau. Oh. The reason you took that money out of the account is twofold. A, because you thought you put in more than your fair share during the course of the year and a half that you were living together. That's one. And two, if I don't buy that argument, you had to spend money to move you and your family back home, despite the fact that Mr. Boudreau had said that if things didn't work out, he would pay for your moving.
Yes.
Is there any other reason that you want to offer me why you closed that account and took out the money?
Because I wanted my name off of that account.
Okay. Is that the primary reason why you went to the bank?
I sent them a letter to close the account.
You have a copy of that letter?
Yes, I do.
Let me see the copy of the letter, please.
Right here. And then here's a copy of the email with the bank.
All right. So the first thing that you did was
I sent him an
you
email.
separated.
Whoops.
Okay. At least initially, I get the sense, Ms. Kessler, that what you intended was just to have your name taken off the account. And if that meant that the account had to be closed and reopened in his individual name, that's what you wanted.
Yes.
And then you ask the question, well, what happens to the funds that are in the bank? Because the bank says, it can't just take your name off, the account has to be closed. And you say, well, then I want the account closed. And they say, well, okay, we'll send you the paperwork and you close the account, because you can do that. And then they say, well, what do you want to do with the funds in the account? And you say, well, how are those funds going to be dispersed? And they say they send you a check, because you're the one closing the account, and you put it in your bank. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I tried contacting him, and he would not answer the phone. Or
What did you try contacting him for, Ms.
Just to
Kessler?
get my name off of there. And
All
then
right,
he sent
so-
me threatening emails, and I said, because I was going to let the money, extra money that I put into the account go, just to sever contact with him. He sent me a threatening email, and I said,
Did
that's
he?
it.
Can I see it?
How
See
many
what
do you
happens
want?
when you're not nice, Mr. Boudreau?
I do.
You see what happens when you're nasty? You could have eliminated this whole thing if you weren't nasty. What'd you get nasty for?
Because those emails I sent, most of them were replies back to hers she sent to me. I mean, she called me in 475 times in a little bit over a month.
You have the records
And
of that?
I have the records of that
I
right
see what
here.
you call him 475 times for.
When I first went down there, he had worked on my computer, and I was having computer problems. And some of those,
475 times?
and if you notice, some of those calls were made to the cell phone first, and because he did not answer the cell phone, I called the house phone.
475 times?
Well, I have emails here that
Miss
say,
Kessler,
why won't you answer the phone?
Miss Kessler, 475
that's what it
times?
says.
That's harassing. All right, think about when he says nasty things to you.
I mean, before that, he had threatened my life.
This is disgusting, sir. I don't care what she said to you. I don't care if she called you 475 times. This is disgusting.
And I have a lot more with those words in him. He would say that to me in front of my children.
How long did he say that in front of your children before you moved out?
That's why I got out of there.
He said it, listen to me, the first time, not the second time. The first time he used this language in front of my children.
Too long.
In front of my children.
Too
You're a
long.
tough girl. I mean, I read what you did.
Too long.
I read what you did. Here,
pretty tough girl.
I should have got out longer than I did.
Absolutely right. One time, use this kind of language in front of my children, and I'd be gone. If you let him abuse your children that way, that's your problem. They're not his children. You know why you're here, Mr. Boudreau?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're here because you have a big, fresh mouth. A big, fresh, nasty mouth. I mean, I never saw somebody string these expletives together in sentences like this. Don't you have any other way of expressing yourself, sir? Don't you have any other way of, in a civilized manner, expressing yourself?
I tried every way.
No.
I tried every way.
You think that saying it this, Mr. Boudreau, you think that using this kind of language is going to get her to stop calling you? You think that this kind of language in a letter is supposed to inspire her to do things in a reasonable way?
I mean, 475 phone calls.
What did she want
emails,
from you?
messages.
Mr. Boudreau, what did she want from you, sir?
No, I have no idea.
What did you want from him?
I have no idea.
Shh, Miss Kessler.
Right now, my kids want their dog.
Shh. Forget the dog. Just go. Forget it. Go buy him a new dog.
I didn't want
I'm
anything
asking
from
you.
him. I wanted him to leave me alone.
So what will you call it? Shh. Listen to me. What were you calling him for? Don't think. What were you calling him for?
At first, to get my computer straightened out, because he's the one that formatted it. And there were programs on there that I didn't understand how they worked, and he knew how they worked, and I was trying to get him to help me with them.
At first? After you didn't return your calls because he didn't want to talk to you. At first, then there has to be a second. What was the second reason that you called him?
Stupidity.
Right. And then you took his money. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,600. That's all.
Party's ex.
21-year-old Dora Spicer and her mother, Brenda Waters, are suing the father of Dora's children, Leonard Kiwi, for a loan to get his car fixed, the return of belongings, and pain and suffering.
Who's Miss Waters? Miss Spicer, this is your former boyfriend, and you have 2 children with him. Is that right?
Yes.
How long have you been together?
We were together a little over 5 years.
How old are you now?
21.
And how old are you?
24.
So you were 19, you were a baby.
I was 16 when we got together.
And how old are your children?
3 and 16 months.
According to your complaint, things in the relationship went south. You had gone to bartend at a party. Mr. Kiwi came to the party. He didn't like the way you were dressed. He thought you were being flirtatious. You even went so far as to wear makeup. There was an altercation, and you left.
Yes.
Him.
Yes.
Took the children, and you went to your mother's?
Yes.
According to your complaint, he refuses to return your personal property.
Yes.
That's what the case is about. And that personal property, you're talking about your clothing?
Yes.
And your children's clothing?
Yes.
What else?
My daughter's TV and DVD player that my mom bought her for Christmas.
Your daughter, who's 3 years old, got a TV and a DVD player?
Yes.
Get over it. Now, Mr. Kiwi, let's deal with this one thing at a time, sir. Do you have her clothing?
No, I allowed her to come over on an agreement. On December 23rd, they agreed to me that I wouldn't call the police on them, that they could come over and.
What happened to her clothing?
She came and got it with her mother and stepfather.
What
and
about
all
the
of her
children's
stuff.
clothing?
She took some of it, but basically almost all of it, and left me with like a couple pairs of clothes that don't even fit them.
Did you go there with your mother?
Yes, I didn't get all of my clothes. I still had some clothes there, and I didn't take all the kids' clothes. There's still clothes in totes in the garage that fit the girls.
Well, just a second. He's their father. Who bought the clothes?
He did. My mom did. His mom did. His sister did.
Well, you can't take all the clothing.
I don't want all the clothes.
You took some?
Yes.
Good. So, and some he has?
Yes.
Now, your clothing?
Yes. I have a few pairs of jeans over there, some more shirts over there.
You're talking about nonsense. You're talking about little stuff. What are you suing him for? I mean, I don't get it. You were together 5 years. We're not talking about a couple of pairs of jeans, madam.
No, but they're mine. I should be able to get them.
Well, do you have her jeans?
I found one pair of jeans that was in the dirty clothes, and that's
All right,
the only reason she
so
didn't
pack
take
it up
them.
and get it over to her.
Yeah.
Now, let's get to your mother. I can't stand to deal with nonsense. You say that you loaned him $1,000 to fix his truck.
Yes.
When?
It was September 12th.
What year? Did she give you $1,000 to fix your truck?
No, she found a gentleman who at a bar who works on vehicles, and at first I was going to sell my Explorer to him, parted it out.
Did
but then
she
he
pay
said he could-
$1,000 to have your truck fixed?
Yes,
Okay. Now it is your defense to that
yes.
that you had loaned her $3,000 a year before.
Well, I took out a loan for $3,000 because I was $1,000 behind on rent, so I paid $1,000 on rent, and I gave her $2,000 so their house would not be foreclosed on because they've took out like 4 mortgages on their home.
When did you give her the $2,000?
Before the Explorer was fixed.
Do you have any proof of that?
The only thing that I would have had was be like from my bank that say I paid off the loan, but unfortunately I didn't bring that because it's not paid off yet.
Okay. Tell me how it came about that you gave her the $2,000. Tell me about it. I'm a good judge of what's true
Dora
and what's
was
not.
crying and stuff, and I felt sorry for him because I thought we were family then, but I guess we're not. And I was just being nice and helping him out.
No, tell me how it came about. Did she come to you and tell you she needed the money?
No, she spoke to Dora, and Dora was telling me about it.
Look at me. When was it that your mother fell? Look at me. I didn't finish the question yet. When did your mother fall behind in her mortgage payments?
It was back in 2005, and he did loan her $2,000, but it wasn't from a loan. It was with his 2005 income tax.
I don't care what it was from.
2006.
Your mother said it was 2006.
It was 2006.
So, how much money did you receive from him?
$2,000, and it was paid back in monthly payments of $500 a month, starting with the month of April and ended in the month of August.
Show me.
I gave it to Dora, and they paid their rent with it.
She gave me cash.
This was never brought up about the $2,000. This was prior. We'd borrowed the money from him, and I've only got 1 mortgage on my house. I don't have 4 mortgages.
Whatever, you have 4 mortgages, you have 1 mortgage. He loaned you $2,000. When?
It was in March.
March of what year?
2006.
And what month did she fix the truck? September of 06.
Yes.
And how much did you pay him back, according to you?
I paid him $500 a month for 4 months, starting in the month of April. It was originally agreed that we were going to start paying in May, the $500, but they were low on money at the time and stuff, so I started paying the money back in April. I paid him back $500 in April, $500 in May, $500 in June, and $500 in July.
Did she pay you back any of the money?
Not all of it.
How much did she pay you back?
I'm not sure. She'd give the money to Dora like she'd say, and then Dora would say that she was paying us, but I didn't see any of the money.
In what month did your mother give you the first payment of $500?
Around the 3rd of April because we didn't have our rent money.
And when did she give you the second payment?
Towards the end of May because we spent it on my daughter's 3rd birthday party.
End of May. And when did she give you the third payment?
Sometime in June, I don't know when. And the last payment, I guess sometime in July. I don't remember the exact date, but she paid us back. And that's why she made the agreement to fix the Explorer for us because we were down on money then.
Tell me how it came about that you paid this $1,000 for him.
My daughter had called me. Scott also has a Ford Escort. It had
Just tell me, your daughter called you and what?
Their Ford Escort was broke down. Scott did not have transportation to go to work. She was upset because she didn't want him to lose his job because the Escort was broke down. I loaned him some money to help for parts on that, and then I said that I would pay for the Explorer to be fixed so that they would have 2 cars that were running, because at that time Dora was trying to find a job so she could make income also. So I loaned him the money. I have a gentleman that I work where I work.
Listen to me. You have no contract with him, your daughter.
He was,
just because they're no longer together, which is what's happened, just because they're no longer together doesn't mean that you come to court and you claim things that really aren't so. It sounds to me as if he wasn't totally a bad guy. A little controlling, perhaps. You know you're a little controlling, Mr. Kiwi.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound like he's a bad guy. He thought you were all family. He gave you $2,000 from his tax returns when you needed it. He didn't even ask to see the return of the money. You say you gave it to your daughter. She did whatever she wanted to do with it. She paid bills, she paid the rent, she did everything. She never showed it to him. And he was the only one working, right? So he was making a family. Just because they're no longer together and things aren't good anymore doesn't mean that you come to court over a pair of jeans that was in the laundry and fixing the truck so that your daughter would have a car and the boyfriend would have a car.
She never got the
now,
car.
Do me a favor. Do me a favor. I have other things to do today. You have a counterclaim?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, your counterclaim says that you don't see your children.
Yes.
That's your counterclaim.
Yes.
That's for a different court, sir.
Okay.
Are you in another court about seeing your children?
Yes.
Do you see your children now?
Every now and then, but it's a very big hassle because they will not take my children to the designated spot because it is not in writing. So since it's not in writing, they make me go to their house, and they know I cannot go over there because I have an ex parte. And when I go over there to see my kids, they call the police. Her mother comes out and stepfather and tries to kick my butt. So I got ex partes against them as well, her mother and stepfather.
What arrangement? Uncross your arms. What arrangements have you made for Mr. Kiwi to see his children? Don't look over there.
We have called
over
him, and my sister calls him at work because I can't speak to him. Calls him at work, tells him to meet my dad up the road at a store called Clyde's. He always makes an account. He doesn't have gas. He can't get to where it is. So my dad drives to Steve's, a gas station that's closer to him, and drops off the girls.
When was the last time he saw the children?
2 weeks ago. He's supposed to get them this weekend.
And before the last visitation, when was the last time he saw the children?
2 weekends before that.
Okay. Well, you're going to have to deal with the courts about that, Mr. Kiwi. You understand that?
Yes.
I suggest that you get whatever you need in writing, get it in writing. Do you understand?
Yes.
Very good. Okay. This case is going to be resolved this way. I want you to go into the laundry, and I want you to get a pair of jeans that she left there, put it in an envelope, and mail it back to her. Do you understand?
Yes.
Other than that, the case is dismissed. Goodbye.
Anne Marie Fessler claims former roommate James Hill stole money earmarked to bail her boyfriend out of jail. James says Anne Marie is making up a story.
Miss Fessler, this young man is your boyfriend's nephew. Your boyfriend was in jail. Is he still in jail?
Yes.
What is he in jail for?
We had gotten into an argument in a restaurant parking lot, and he hit me, and the cops are called. He was locked up, and they're holding him for old warrants that he had.
Outstanding warrants for what?
One was a shoplifting charge from 95. One was a drug charge and something else. I think it had something to do with the drug charge. I'm not exactly sure what.
Do you know what he's in jail for?
Them fighting all the time, and they're just very dysfunctional.
Well, they may be very dysfunctional, but that's not the only reason he's in jail. In any event, it is your claim that you gave him some money to bail out your boyfriend, that he didn't bail out your boyfriend, but he stole your money. And then you think he took some other money from an ATM card. Some convoluted story. In any event, Mr. Hill said, I took $600 to go and bail out my uncle that you did give him. And when he got to the prison to bail him out, it was more than that. So he gave you back your $600. He doesn't know anything about any other stolen money. He says he doesn't know why you would think that he would take property that belongs to you. Okay, Ms. Fessler, when was your boyfriend arrested for domestic violence?
November 24th of 2006.
And when did you call Mr. Hill about giving him money to go bail him out?
I called him and told him what the bail was. He told me to give him the money that I had, and he would see what he can do about getting the rest to go bail him out. I had $700 on me at the time.
Where'd you get $700 from?
Every month I get $400 from the state. They give me I'm on a rental assistance and welfare. They gave me $400. We saved $200 every month for the last 3 months.
Just a second. They give you $400 for what?
For my kids from welfare every month.
How many children do you have?
I have 2.
So the state gives you $400 a month to feed and take care of your children. And you save $200.
I was taking $200 out every month for my kids' Christmas, and the other $200 I was using to buy their diapers and stuff every month.
What other money comes into your house?
That's all the money that we have.
No. Impossible.
They were paying...
Impossible.
They were paying our rent.
You, the boyfriend, the 2 children, living on, according to you, $50 a week, because if they send $400 and you're saving $200, that means that the 4 of you are living on $50 a week, unless the boyfriend is selling drugs.
No, they were paying our rent also. We were getting rental assistance, too, from welfare. They were also paying our rent, and that was $800 a month that they were paying for us.
So they're paying rent. That still leaves you $50 a week to feed.
We were also receiving food stamps from them, too. We were getting $500 in food stamps, too.
So were you selling those?
No.
What were you doing with them?
Buying food and formula for my son and my daughter.
And what was the boyfriend doing?
He was trying to find a job.
When was the last time he actually found a job?
In the summertime.
Doing what?
He was working for a trucking company.
And what happened to that job?
He lost his job because he was late too many days.
Why was he late?
Because I was sick, I was pregnant, so he was staying home to help take care of me and my daughter while I was pregnant with my son.
But you had been receiving welfare for a long time, right?
Yes.
So why wasn't he working and getting you off welfare before you got pregnant with the last baby?
We were having a lot of problems. They were trying to help us out with everything that we could. We were moving back and forth from place to place. We were having problems with my first landlord.
Listen, the government wants to give away their money to families who are actually living together. That is something that I am not going to rectify in my lifetime, although I would like to try. What I resent is welfare is supposed to provide people with their basic necessities, not enough money to save. You know, people who earn $25,000, $30,000 a year can't put away $200 a month because they have to use that money to pay for rent, gas, electric, telephone, medical, all kinds of other things, medicines. You know, so even if you're working and working hard and earning a moderate amount of money, you can't save $200 a month. Here, you're saving $200 a month on the taxpayer for Christmas presents. That's ridiculous, if I believed you. So, go ahead. So you had saved $600 so far for Christmas, and you gave him the $600.
I gave him the $600 and told him to go down to the bail bondsman, and they said that they would take $600 to get him out. I gave him the $600. I couldn't go down there. They said that I had to be at least 23 to sign the papers. I'm not 23, so I couldn't take the money down there and sign it.
How old are you?
I'm 21. So I asked him to take the money down there. He said his sister would co-sign with him. Supposedly they took the money down there. He called me back and told me that the bail bondsman wanted more money, that a charge from New York came up on him. So I went...
He's sub-Butte. So he's got stuff from where? Where do you live?
Trenton, New Jersey.
So you live in New Jersey? Well, it's not far from New York to New Jersey. He gets around. What happened to the $600, Mr. Hill?
All right, Your Honor. First of all, everything she said is bogus.
Listen to me. I asked you a question.
Yes.
I said, what happened to the she gave you $600.
Yes,
that you agree with?
Yes, ma'am.
My question is a simple one, Mr. Hill. And I'm getting hungry.
Okay.
You understand? What happened to the $600?
It went right back into her hand, Your Honor.
When?
Right after I tried, my witness here, Miss Irvin, she took me to the police station to bail him out. When they told me it was not enough money, I then, plus 155 of my own, because she asked for extra money to go help pay the fines off before he can get bailed out. I never even asked her for that money back. The following morning, she tells me the money's missing, someone's stolen the money. I have nothing to do with that.
She told you that someone stole that $600?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, he got up in the morning and came downstairs and told me that in the middle of the night he found my front door to my apartment standing wide open. He said the apartment got cold, he came down and used the bathroom, and the door was standing open to my apartment. I was going to my room to go see where my money was. My money was gone. He claimed that somebody came in and took the money.
Miss Fessler, you following what I'm saying, madam?
Yeah, but I'm saying
what
he's saying is
I want
true.
you to listen to me very carefully. We're starting with this premise, Miss Fessler, that the money you gave him, the $600 to bail out your boyfriend, right, was money that the government intended for your children. That's what the taxpayers gave you the money for, to feed and clothe your children, not to use for Christmas presents, and certainly not to use to bail out your drug addict boyfriend. Do you understand?
Yes.
Good. Now, it matters not to me, and I'm telling this to you from the bottom of my heart. If he stole that money and used it for, I don't know, bought a whole new outfit, had his hair done, I don't know, whatever he did with the money, right? That to me is no worse than what you did, taking the money away from your children to go bail out your boyfriend. What difference does it make to me as a representative of the government? What happened to the misappropriated money? It wasn't meant for your boyfriend. Put your hand down. By giving the money away for bail, you are stealing the money from your children. You can't do that. You get it? Good. So I am totally disinterested with what happened to the $600.
Okay.
All I know is, as a taxpayer, one thing remains firm. The boyfriend is probably where he belongs, and the $600 was going to get misused, whoever used it, you or him. And I don't care. I got other fish to fry today. What difference does it make to me is whose con it is, his or yours? Now, what other money do you claim he took from you?
He took $200 from the Red Cross that they had gave me. My apartment had burnt down on December 4th. We both were given cards from the Red Cross. I had 722. He received 200 and something. I don't know exactly how much. I had asked him to come into the hotel room with me for a minute to watch my kids while I went to go call my mom. I came back in to get my kids. My mom was taking us to New York to go to court with her.
For what?
She's having a problem with two of my other sisters in New York.
Listen to me. Get to the story. The Red Cross gave you money, and you claim that he took out some money from that card.
I got to New York to take the money off the card so I could buy my daughter something to wear. My card was not there. He was the only person in the room. I have a police report stating where the money came from. It came from an ATM machine from a store that's right down the street from where he lives. I never told him the money came from an ATM machine from a store. When I called him, he told me that there's no ATM machine in the store down the street. I never said anything about a store to him.
Did you steal any money from her Red Cross card?
No, ma'am. You had the cards that they gave us. They give you and only you an access code to those cards. You understand? She asked me to watch the children. My room was 2 doors down from her. I kindly came, watched the children. How can I take something within a matter of seconds?
They have an envelope. They give you the card.
I don't know. All I'm asking you is, did you take her money?
No, ma'am.
They put the card inside of an envelope. They put the card inside an envelope, and on the envelope is the PIN number. He knew it too because they gave him the same thing.
So we had the same PIN
So
card?
we had.
Do you work?
Yes.
No, he doesn't.
Shh. I don't want to. Who do you work for?
I work for National Fidelity. I work. It's like it's a loan off. I'm a junior loan officer.
Do you get paid a weekly salary?
Yes.
How much?
I earn $600 a week.
Really?
Yes.
What's the name of your boss?
John. Oh, that's his first name.
What's his phone number?
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Phone number. What word didn't you understand?
I can't. I don't know the phone
What's
number.
your work
offhand.
phone number?
Excuse me. My work phone number.
Yeah, that would be another.
Like,
what word didn't you understand?
Your Honor, everything is
people
stored
deserve
in my
each other.
phone.
Miss Fessler, your case is dismissed. Listen, when the government wants to give people money, the government intends for the people to use that money for its intended purpose. The fact that your Red Cross, also money that you never earned, the Red Cross, I'm speaking, you lost your house with money that was given to you by the state.
But he still took it from me.
I don't know whether he did or not.
My sister was there with me. He admitted he told my sister
Oh,
that
different
he
story.
had the money.
Come. Your name?
Tia Dixon.
Where do you live?
I live with my boyfriend.
And what do you do for a living?
Well, I'm going to school right now.
What school do you go to?
Mercer County Community College.
How many credits do you take?
No.
I would know that.
She just started. I just started. I start back next Monday for the second semester.
So you're not. Oh, please. All right, you say that this young man admitted he took money from you.
He admitted it. When she called him about it, he admitted to her that he took it.
How do you know that?
Because
don't speak. Because?
Because I was sitting there.
Sitting where?
I was sitting with her.
Yes.
And he admitted that he took the money and he started cussing her out.
What do you mean, you were on the phone?
Yeah, on the phone. She had chirped him up and she said that she wanted her money back. He said, first he started cussing her out. He said, stop calling me about this. You call me about this one more time, you and your kids. He said, I got the money, you not getting it back. And before I even heard all of that, she called me and said she was going to finally get her money back. She went down to the bail bondsman to wait for him.
I'm not talking about the bail bondsman. You didn't understand what I said about the bail bondsman. I'm talking about the ATM.
The ATM card. He went and he took the money off the card. He said that he took it. He admitted it
that he took it.
He was on the phone with her and he admitted it.
Just a second. He was on the phone again with her at a different time.
It was a week ago. This happened a week ago. I called him.
Your case is dismissed. I'm not happy with anybody here. Why don't you all spend a little more time trying to do something productive and a little less time figuring out how to scam the system? Goodbye.
Help!